than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, or S, speech difficulty, then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
The Jets accuse McCall Hardman for leaking plays versus the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Bills left tackle Deion Dawkins says that the Jets are weirdos. And social media influencer Sophie Hall accuses Tyreek Hill for breaking her leg. Much, much more on two. And by the way, two fantastic guests here on the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Did you see Lamar Jackson cry to the ref? No, he didn't. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Daryl Marks, my co-host, Speeder himself, Speedy, Petey. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy, Petey, and Sean Smith. Every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and listen to all the shows and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwideradio.com. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You can tune in and listen to us on all the social medias, including all 20 different local listings all over the Surf Network. Yes, Surf Network. Speedy, are you surfing tonight?
Does it look like I'm surfing?
Are you surfing?
Does it look like I'm surfing?
You look like you're a surfer. Have you ever surfed before?
I have not. But does it look like I'm surfing physically right now?
I'm surfing. I'm pretending I'm surfing.
Okay.
I am riding the wave.
There.
I am riding the wave right now.
Big difference.
But are you riding the wave? Are you on the wave?
No.
Are you falling off the wave?
If I was falling, you would see it.
I haven't seen it. Are you the gigolo tonight? Are you going to
I
be
have
our
no idea.
Well, you look like a gigolo. I mean, seriously.
Whatever.
You're going to be our deuce of gigolo. Could you do that?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. He has no idea what to do, as I've asked him to be our gigolo. He's lost his mind. No Sean Smith tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great show lined up for you. At 8:30, we'll be talking to Carolina Panther defensive lineman Chris Wormley. He'll be joining us for the first time on the show. Oh, he played for the Steelers, the Ravens, and now the Carolina Panthers. At 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network broadcaster, our friend, my attacker, Pete Bursick. He'll be joining us. There we go. Nice applause, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. The Jets accuse Mecole Hardman of leaking plays versus the Chiefs and Eagles. Oh, Mecole Hardman is hitting, and he's hitting big, baby. Yesterday, he hits and takes shots at the Jets, and then again, he hits again, leaking different things for the New York Jets. What does that say? By the way, the Jets could have beaten Kansas City, and they beat the Eagles. So even if he's leaking plays, it doesn't really matter. So the Jets need to step back and just relax. But, hey, you know what? If they're trying to cheat, or he's trying to cheat, let's do it. I mean, the Patriots are known to do that. Bills left tackle Deion Dawkins says that the Jets are weirdos. Speedy, I think you should hit it.
Weirdos being weird.
Weirdos being weird. Oh, weirdos being weird. One more time. A little bit louder, Speedy. I want to hear it. Let us hear it. Here we go. Come on, Speedy. What's going on here?
I went back for the full screen.
What happened? Weirdos being weird.
Weirdos being weird. Thank you to Deion Dawkins for laughing and giving us his clown laugh of the year. Social media influencer Sophie Hall accuses Tyreek Hill of breaking her leg. Is he really breaking her leg, or did she just fall on her face? I don't know. Now, this is an interesting story. I'm liking this. Oh, the Bears will look to trade Justin Fields before free agency starts. As we predicted, the latest on franchise tag updates. Let's parlay. It looks like we're going to have Mr. Mountaineer coming on tonight, and he should be the only one. So
he is the only one tonight. Wes could not make it. He texted me some pics, but it is his anniversary tonight. Happy anniversary to Wes.
Happy anniversary to you. Come on, Speedy. You have to give me a little bit of a little, come on. Give it to me.
What are you, trying to be a bodybuilder for Wes's anniversary?
Oh, look at me. Look at me. Oh, let's parlay with Derek Mountain. Kevin Durant said he went to the Nets over the Knicks in 2019 when his family and agent wanted him to go to the Knicks. So that's an interesting story. So thank you to Kevin Durant for not choosing us, because we have Jalen Brunson. So thank you very much. No Kevin Durant is a better New York Knicks team.
And no flat earther either.
Well, I do like the flat. Well, did he say flat earth or
no? Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving.
But he was going to take Kyrie Irving with him wherever he went.
Well, that's true.
So he would have been an Knicks too.
God Almighty, please rest my soul. Please, ladies and gentlemen. SNYs. Yes, Connor Hughes reports that the Jets have accused Mecole Hardman for leaking plays for their games versus the Chiefs and Eagles. Several players supported this claim and believe it to be true, including Sauce Gardner. A now deleted tweet by Sauce yesterday said, "He ain't gonna talk about how our offensive game plan got leaked versus the Eagles, though. The Jets play," I'm trying to speak like Sauce. I don't know. I'm trying my best here. The Jets played two of their better games of the season, beating the Eagles 20-14 and nearly beating the Chiefs 23-20. I was actually on a cruise. Rich Cimini reports that Hardman refused to return punts versus the Chiefs and a few other games because special teams coach Brant Boyer misled him about winning the punt return job during training camp. Hardman also mentioned that he was so checked out with the Jets and begged the Chiefs to get him back last season. love Mecole Hardman. I really do. I'm actually happy he went back to the Chiefs because at least we got a chance to see him play a couple more games this year as he won a Super Bowl. But I don't know if this story is to be true. Okay, I don't. I don't work for the Jets. I don't work for the Eagles, and I don't work for the Chiefs. But if players are saying that Mecole Hardman was leaking plays, I mean, the NFL needs to look into this. Because even though the Chiefs and the Eagles game was really two of the best Jet games of the season, nonetheless, if you're a team right now and you're looking at a specific player like Mecole Hardman and he is throwing a team under the bus, leaking plays to other teams and other organizations, that's not right. And to me, should be suspended and fined by the NFL and his respectable team right now, which would be Kansas City. Now, I look at this whole situation with Mecole Hardman. He is hurt, obviously. He's butthurt. Maybe he's not getting anything at home. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if his wife's giving him any. I really don't. But he's got his panties up in a bunch because he has been throwing the Jets to the wolves the last 2 days. He really has. Now, again, I'm a Jets guy. I'm a Jets fan. Everybody that listens to the show knows that I'm real about the New York Jets. And even if Mecole Hardman didn't leak anything to any of these respectable teams, it wouldn't even matter because the Jets weren't good enough to win this year, as they were a 7-10 team. But when you hear Mecole Hardman didn't want to play, he didn't want to be a punt returner for the New York Jets because he was misled by Brant Boyer, that is a crock of you-know-what. You're going to sell that right now after the situation for what it was. Now you're throwing a team under the bus. We all know the Jets are a joke. We know they're a joke of an organization. Everybody makes fun of the Jets, even the Jet fans. We all do. It's been a clown organization for 54 years. You make a trade for Aaron Rodgers. You lose him in 4 plays in the first game of the season when he runs an American flag on a field when their lights are down and dim and sparkling, and you see the great Aaron Rodgers run on the field. You see him on Hard Knocks. Everybody can't wait to watch this high-flying Jets offense, which was one of the worst in the league. And Mecole Hardman signed a $7 million one-year deal with them. And we say, wow, we got Mecole Hardman. We have Garrett Wilson. We have all these weapons. Breece Hall coming back. Dalvin Cook signing before the season started. We're going to be explosive. And then what happens? Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett is what happens. It's been an absolute joke. And it doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It doesn't matter who the coach is. And it doesn't matter who the quarterback is right now. Because until the season starts in 2024, the Jets are going to be the laughing stock this offseason. And Mecole Hardman opening his big fat mouth, throwing the New York Jets under the bus. And there's other guys, obviously Dawkins, we'll get into that in just a few moments, calling the Jets the weirdos.
If only the Jets had a left tackle as good as Deion Dawkins, Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't get hurt.
It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter.
You're right, it's still MetLife Stadium turf. You never know.
It doesn't matter because the Buffalo Bills are an organization that's a laughing stock as well. Both teams have not won in years. As a matter of fact, Buffalo's never won. And the Jets won one in 54 years ago. In 1969, Joe Namath guaranteeing, if you remember. The Jets haven't even sniffed a Super Bowl. Not even sniffed it. I don't want to hear about the AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. They didn't even sniff it. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen. But when you hear a guy like Mecole Hardman, butt ripped, that's what I call it. He's so upset at the New York Jets, he will do anything to throw the Jets under the bus. And then Sauce Gardner coming to the Jets' aid. Yes, he's coming out there and he's saying, you better not be leaking anything from my offense. The offense was putrid. It was the worst offense I've ever seen. This is the worst offense the Jets have ever had. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It could be a backup. It could be a fourth backup. It could be damn Aaron Rodgers. The offensive line couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers throwing lefty would be better than Zach Wilson.
They sucked. They absolutely blew. I'd rather sneeze. Actually, my sneeze would have passed that offensive line. I mean, they couldn't block anything. It's pathetic. And if the player's going to throw the Jets under the bus, it shouldn't be Mecole Hardman. I mean, who the hell is Mecole Hardman?
He is a...
Oh, I'm sorry. He scored the final touchdown in the Super Bowl in overtime as he was wide open. Wide open. A fan could have caught the ball. That's how open he was.
Mecole Hardman is a slight upgrade over Kadarius Toney. That says all you need to know.
It is so funny when you hear so many players in the past for the New York Jets. They leave the Jets and then they throw the Jets to the Wolves. And this is an organization that's had it for years. And you have Sauce Gardner sticking up for the New York Jets. Garrett Wilson threw the Jets kind of under the bus at the end of the season and throughout the season about the offense and the play calling. And then he steps back when after the season came around and he really said, you know, I'm very stressed out. I don't really want to I speak about the way the offense was running and throwing and making mistakes throughout the season. He didn't want to speak about it, but he spoke about it after every single game. What's going to happen if Garrett Wilson decides to flee and go somewhere else? Or Sauce Gardner decides to walk away from the New York Jets and go somewhere else or sign somewhere else for $150 million as a corner? What happens then? Honestly, if you're a Jet fan right now, I could only imagine what these two guys are going to say after they leave the Jets. It seems like everyone. Mark Sanchez spoke after he left the Jets. And Mark Sanchez, yeah, he went to 2 AFC title games. But really, what has Mark Sanchez done ever since he left the Jets?
Eating hot dogs.
Eating hot dogs on the sideline or having their coach make get a tattoo of him or his face on his leg.
And brainwash Chip Kelly into thinking he was a good quarterback.
I mean, seriously, it is a joke. It is a joke. But again, the Jets shouldn't be taking this. And I think that as an organization, somebody needs to speak up. Somebody needs to say something. I don't want to hear it from Sauce Gardner. I want to hear it from Robert Saleh. I want to hear Joe Douglas say something. I want to hear Woody Johnson and what Woody Johnson has to say, because what Woody did on Media Day was really make the Jets look like a stupid organization.
I want to hear Nathaniel Hackett. It's his game plans. Like, is it that obvious that they're leaking it?
I really don't want to even hear from Nathaniel Hackett. I want to hear from the head coach. I want to hear the bull crap that comes out of his mouth. All season long, you hear, I'm taking tickets. I'm doing this. I'm doing that.
I'm taking receipts. This is what our playbook looks like.
I mean, seriously, it's a joke. It's a joke. I want to hear from the leader. I want to hear from the guy that was speaking on Hard Knocks and saying that we're going to be a team to be reckoned with this year, when they were a team to be reckoned with defensively until their defense got tired in the early third quarter and they just got beaten up and pulverized. And their offense, I don't know where they were. I think they were sitting and eating hot dogs on the sidelines.
Yep. Joining the
Maybe
club.
Hamburgers with Andy Reid.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, you wonder.
Maybe a sausage with Speedy.
Definitely not. But
Why,
thank you.
Right there.
Why, thank you. But regardless of the results, too, I also think the process looks bad for individually Mecole Hardman if this does end up being true. And I agree with you. He definitely should be suspended if that ends up being the case. And obviously, the NFL will investigate it more. And the Jets should push this out more. And I don't know why any Jets coaching staff, any Jets players would protect Mecole Hardman in this instance, too. And the more information that comes out, maybe there's just these are the 2 games that are known right now. Maybe there was more than we realized when Hardman was there before he was traded. He was traded in week 9.
Who cares? Honestly, it really doesn't matter. Mecole Hardman did nothing for the Jets. He had 1 catch for 6 yards. Congratulations. Thank you, Mecole, for giving us such a great career as a New York Jets. And $7 million later. Thank you.
But you have to still set a principle because Roger Goodell is not very good at that as it is. So all these other players that, if Mecole Hardman can get away with it, I could get away with it too. All these other random 4th or 5th string wide receivers or running backs that are not going to be thought of on this team making a name for themselves. Oh, let's go leak a playbook and try to win a game. If Roger Goodell doesn't set a principle, if this is true, I'm not sure how true it is, but if it's true, then all these players will start doing it and it'll be a whole ripple effect.
How didn't the coaches and the coaching staff not know this? Honestly, how do you not know this? If there were players on the team that knew that he was leaking things, why didn't the coaches know? This has something to do with coaching, right?
Yep.
When we look at football, when you look at Super Bowl championships, when you look at Bill Belichick and Andy Reid and some of the greatest, Gibbs and you name it, these guys that have won multiple championships, Jimmy Johnson, why haven't we heard anything go on in their locker rooms? But with the New York Jets, who, by the way, hasn't seen the playoffs in what, 14 years?
Since my sophomore year of high school.
12, 13, 14 years ago. How could we sit here as New Yorkers or even Jet fans and make excuses for this organization? Because there's no excuses. Connor Hughes could say whatever he wants. Jake Asman could say whatever he wants. Any one of these Jets guys can say whatever they want. I am a Jet guy, and I'm going to say the truth, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear it from my voice right now. This team has been nothing but a clown show for 14 years. That was when Rex Ryan was here, by the way, and that was still a clown show.
John, the funding for the Jets does not count when Sean is not here.
No, there was no fun. I mean, if you want to fund Sean, I mean, he seems to need some money. We've heard he's made multi-millions of dollars, and now he wants more money. I don't know. If you want to hook him up, you could hook me up with a couple of bucks.
Well, maybe he could spend that money on a computer that works better, or a charger to charge
How about
his
a camera?
phone.
How about a camera?
Or a charger to charge his phone so it doesn't die in the middle of snow.
We love Sean, by the way. We do, but no Sean tonight. But it seems like this team has been nothing but a joke. And now, because of the bad season, because last year the Jets were the talk of the town.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody spoke about the Jets. Oh, the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. Look at this team. Look at this offense. They added this guy. They added that guy. Their offensive line's more better. This and this and that. The season went the same way it went the year before. A 7-10 season. A team looks like they're ready to self-destruct. A coach that has absolutely no idea where he is or what he's doing, or maybe actually understanding how to make a play call when his offensive coordinator doesn't know his ass from his tailbone.
And tell the players to do the right thing during the game. It's not the other thing that you didn't train them for all week.
In an interview with Vlad TV, Bills left tackle Dion Dawkins called the Jets a bunch of weirdos.
If you want to know what you will...
Hey, if you want to know. Dawkins added that he hates their entire team with the exception of Quinn Williams. He took shots at Michael Clemens in particular, who he called a bitch boy for trash-talking Josh Allen in the second meeting between the Jets and the Bills, where Buffalo won 32-6. There also was a post-game brawl in that game where security had to get involved. Dawkins also claimed that the Jets only played football just to be cool and not for the love of the game. Sauce responded, I play this game because I love it, and it takes care of my family. Mecole Hardman also called the Jets yesterday for having too many individual egos. Egos. Not ego, not egos, eagles. Okay.
Again, if they had Eagles, Aaron Rodgers might not get hurt.
The way he said it in the interview, it sounded like Eagles. He didn't say egos, he said Eagles. So whatever that was. But anyways, here's the interesting story. When you look at the situation with Dion Dawkins, and it seems like now it's an onslaught. Everybody's speaking about the Jets. Everybody's throwing the Jets under the bus. There's no Miami. There's no New England Patriots because there's no more evil empire. There's no Bill Belichick. There's no Tom Brady. So who do they want to go after in the AFC East? We're going to go after the lonely Jets because they've been a funny organization, a clown show of an organization for years. And now they have Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers running the team. He is the GM. He's the LeBron James of the New York Jets. And now Deion Dawkins, who has a lot to say. And listen, he is a great offensive lineman. There's no question that he is. But let me ask you a question. How good was the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills this year? Especially in the first half. How many times did Josh Allen get sacked? I want to know. Because when you're speaking about a team, which, by the way, the Buffalo Bills, that started the season absolutely terrible, and then finally started to pick up their game because their coach was on the hot seat.
And Ken Dorsey was gone, luckily.
And Ken Dorsey was gone, and they needed somebody to blame. What did they do? They started to win and started to play. And then they go through the playoffs and they bump into the Kansas City Chiefs in home, not at home, in a home game, and lose against the Kansas City Chiefs in their stadium at a game where I believe they were better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And Michael Clemens, we all know, we've heard all these stories with Michael Clemens. He's not likable. Some of his teammates, not a big fan of his. We've seen him come out. I think he played for Texas A&M.
Yep.
And a lot of people thought he could have been a second-round draft pick, but he fell to the fourth because of his attitude and not showing up to practice on time. So we've heard these stories about Michael Clemens. We all know who he is. Sauce Gardner, yeah, he has an ego. All you guys have egos. You don't think Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes has an ego? When Patrick Mahomes scores a touchdown, what does he do? He dances and trounces and jumps in the air like he's never scored a touchdown in his career.
We know a particular Buffalo Bills wide receiver has an ego.
Everybody's got an ego. You're going to tell me, Deion, that nobody on your team has an ego? You have Stephon Diggs on your team, the biggest ego in the NFL. Trayvon Diggs threw Stephon Diggs' quarterback under the bus. And what did you do? What did your team do when your own offensive players said some lousy things even before the season even started, when he didn't even show up? Yeah, Stephon Diggs didn't even show up to the first practice. What then? You want to throw the Jets to the Wolves? Why don't you throw your own teammate to the Wolves? This is the problem right now. Why does anybody care about the Jets? Who are the Jets? The Jets are one of the worst teams right now in the AFC until proven otherwise. And he wants to say Quinnen Williams. You know why he mentioned Quinnen Williams? Because he doesn't want Quinnen Williams to put his ass on the frigging on the ground. That's the facts. Quinnen Williams speaks. I don't know if you've watched Hard Knocks. He speaks. He talks crap. He doesn't have an ego because he's doing that? Is this a love fest? Or this is just a hate fest? Let's blame the Jets. Let's throw the Jets to the Wolves right now. Let's just pick on the Jets. Let's pick on the Jets day. The combine's around the corner. The draft's around the corner. Free agency's around the corner. We're going to screw the Jets. We're going to make sure that no free agents want to go and play for Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers Jets.
And again, the egos in football are going to be something that is going to be variant based on the teams anyway. We've seen loud teams with egos still succeed amidst all that. Look at the Seattle Seahawks, for example. All the loudmouths that they have on that defense, on that Legion of Boom. They were still very successful for a while. They only won one Super Bowl, but they had a very good track record. How about the Eagles in 2017? A lot of guys that had egos on that defense. It's fine to have an ego. And again, it's fine for all these other guys that have egos on the Jets too, and on your own team, Deion. Like, I mean, I can understand Michael Clemens. Like, okay, he has had some discipline issues in his career. I don't know what he said to Josh Allen. If it was something vulgar, or if it was something that went against him, fine. That's fine, depending on what's said. But I mean, there's other weirdos in the league besides the Jets too. You'd have to think.
Hold on 1 second. Is Travis Kelce an egotistical guy?
Of course.
I mean, did you see what he did in the Super Bowl? Did you see in the first quarter, because he didn't get the ball, he ran up to his coach, yelled in his face, and practically pushed him over? Is that not an ego? How about, I'll go back to all these Super Bowl championship contenders. And I'm going to say this to be true. When you look at the 49ers and you look at that defense, okay? And we've heard a lot of these defensive players throughout the before the Super Bowl, a week before the Super Bowl, speak to the press, and half of them, and I'm not going to I'll mention one, Armstead. He spoke and he said some things and wildish things. He spoke about how good his defense is, how great they are, and that we're the best defense in the league, and we're going to show it on Sunday. That's what he said. That's not an egotistical statement. Come on, guys. Everybody has an ego. Every one of you have an ego. I have an ego. Finch has an ego. Speedy even has an ego. I mean, a little ego. I mean, he's not the gigolo in his eyes. I mean, I think he's the gigolo.
Congratulations.
You don't even know what a gigolo is.
Exactly.
But that makes it even better.
All right. Well, enjoy
You
your...
could be a gigolo with a sausage in your mouth. I mean, seriously. You would look good as our gigolo.
I'm not impressioning. I'm not getting...
You're the loudmouth gigolo.
No, I'm not. I'm not rolling with the impression. If you and anyone else...
You want to roll with a sausage in your mouth? I'm just asking you.
No.
I'm just asking you. I think it's a good question. Just a good question.
You know who would cater to a question like that?
Oh, I can't wait. Let's hear it.
Weirdos being weird.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Dawkins giving us the weirdo statement. Here again, I know that right now the Jets are a laughing stock. They really are. And now with free agency around the corner and the Jets are dropping players and trying to free up some money and decide on who is the next player they're going to go after in free agency. When somebody like Mecole Hardman comes out and makes the Jets look bad, and then you have Dion Dawkins, one of the best offensive linemen in the league, come out and throw the Jets kind of a bone. Not a good bone, a bad bone. I mean, now you look at the big picture. If you were a free agent, would you want to go and play for the Jets? Would you want to go and play for Robert Saleh? Would you want to go and play for Woody Johnson? And this is the problem right now for this organization is they looked so good last year. Everybody was raving about the Jets. Oh, I can't wait. This team could win 12 games, maybe 13 games. They can challenge Kansas City. They could be a contender, a top 4 contender. I mean, Vegas had them 4 or 5 before the season started, before Aaron Rodgers went down. Now, all of a sudden, they're laughing stock again. Nobody wants to play for him. Aaron Rodgers is never going to stay healthy. This team is never going to find a second wide receiver to play on the other side of Garrett Wilson. This defense that was so good this year fell apart in the second half because they were too tired, because the offense couldn't run the ball the way they should have in certain games. They couldn't throw the ball because they have a quarterback that likes to screw around with old women.
Thanks, John. We just mentioned that they've been 14 years since they made the playoffs. They've been the laughing stock for years. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should take Zach Wilson to a picnic. I mean, he likes hanging out at those picnics and older women and hang out in that outside bathroom. And, they have a little fun over there. I mean, seriously. And now the Jets reach out to Zach Wilson and his agent and say that you could go out there and seek your own trade. Who the hell's going to want Zach Wilson? So honestly, if you look at every single team right now in the NFL and all the free agent backup quarterbacks, who would you want? Jacoby Brissett, Zach Wilson. Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson.
As overrated as I think Tannehill is, Tannehill.
Russell Wilson or Zach Wilson.
That's not even close.
I mean, I don't know. I could get a list of backup quarterbacks right now. I think you would probably take every single one of them. Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson.
Of course. Vikings' future backup quarterback, Sam Darnold.
I mean, seriously. If you look at the list of free agent quarterbacks, nobody's going to want Zach Wilson. Nobody. And nobody's going to give up anything worth anything for Zach Wilson. The Jets have made a mistake, and this is what's made Joe Douglas look bad. No matter how good that draft was with Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner, and Johnson, everybody's going to think about the draft before that when they drafted the number 2 pick in Zach Wilson and absolutely bombed on that pick. And now everybody's trying to figure out who's going to take over if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt again. That's the problem right now, because is the Jets going to be able to build this offensive line? They dropped it. Lincoln Tomlinson a couple of days ago. They have Tippmann and they have Elijah Vera Tucker. We all know what's going to happen to their left tackle. We all know what's going to happen probably to the other left guard if there is any on this roster.
Maybe Mitchell, I guess. Maybe.
I don't think Mitchell's going to be a part of this team anymore. I really don't. I don't think the Jets big back Mitchell right now. He didn't have a good season. Ever since that problem that he had at the end of his first season where he looked good, he's just not been a blood clot, I think it was.
Yes.
He hasn't been the same player. So where do the Jets go? They need 3 offensive linemen. They're going to go to free agency. That's where they're going to go. They need to figure out what they're doing with Bryce Huff. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Michael Carter. Bryce Huff, it seems like what we've heard, there are quite a few different people that have come out and said that the Jets could re-sign Bryce Huff. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Connor Hughes that said that the Bryce Huff would only be worth about 12-14 million a year.
Wow.
So if the Jets want to sign him, they can sign him to a 3-4 year deal worth about 13-14 million a year.
That'd be huge.
And they need to find another wide receiver, maybe a Calvin Ridley. That's something that we've been speaking about. It doesn't look like Brandon Ayuk is going to be let go now that the $30-something million has gone to every single team.
Plus, he's going to want number 1 wide receiver money. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to do that. They really just need a good number 2.
I mean, the Jets, after dropping all these players, they can have up to $59 million. So the Jets could afford Brandon Ayuk if they want him. So I just think that the Jets are in a position right now where they have to figure out what they need to do this offseason instead of worrying about what everything that's happened last year with all these former players or players that were leaking things or ex-players or players that are not even part of their roster over the last couple of years or at all. Because Dion Dawkins is not even in the locker room. The fact that he says they're egotistical. I mean, I don't know if anybody's watching the Patriots Dynasty documentary. Bill Belichick has an ego. He's a narcissist. Robert Kraft has an ego. He's a narcissist. Tom Brady was a narcissist and an egotistical guy. So you're going to tell me because, hey, every single player on the Jets you believe is a narcissist and an egotistical guy. Nobody else in the league has ever been that way.
Also, I don't know if every Jet was trash talking down 32-6 in a game, too. Yeah, that does look bad. Obviously, you have no reason to trash talk. Everyone was making fun of Austin Eckler where he signaled a first down when the Raiders put 63 points on the Chargers. But nevertheless, I don't think every Jets player was trash talking.
I think it's a joke. I really do think it's a joke.
John also says Jets fans remind me of Eagles fans. Well, you know what Jets fans, you know what Eagles fans are as well?
Weirdos being weird.
Well, they like to eat horse manure.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
We've seen that before. Ask Kenyon.
Oh no, we don't need to scar him with that again.
Social media influencer Sophie Hall filed a civil lawsuit against Tyreek Hill, claiming that Hill broke her leg last summer. She claimed that Hill forcefully and purposively pushed her to the ground during a football drill where she was forced him backwards and Hill felt humiliated. She is seeking up to $75,000 in damages for the incident. Hill has had a couple of off-the-field incidents in the past, including an altercation with a Marine worker last summer and child abuse accusations in 2019 with the Chiefs. The Chiefs suspended him for the team operations that year, but the NFL did not suspend Hill for either of those charges, but wouldn't rule out suspending him for this one because he's a repeated offender. I wasn't there. I don't know the full story behind, Sophie Hall. I don't know anything about Sophie Hall. I don't even know who she is. She's obviously filing a lawsuit with Tyreek Hill because of this situation. She wants money. It's always about money. And again, Tyreek Hill has been known to be a pain in the you-know-what. I've watched his podcasts. He has his own personalities and he has his own way of really throwing himself out there in the public view. He believes he's as fast as a cheater. He thinks he can race a horse. He thinks he can race Usain Bolt. I mean, the guy thinks that he's the best wide receiver since sliced bread. He's the greatest to ever play. But He had a great season last year. Do I believe, or does anybody believe that Tyreek Hill was the best wide receiver in the league last year? Absolutely was. He put up the numbers. He showed up every single week in and week out, except maybe I think 1 week he missed. He played as good as any wide receiver in football. The problem is, it seems that Tyreek Hill can't get out of his own way. Every single time off the field, he's hanging out over there at a marina. He gets in trouble. He's beating up some lonely guy or some guy, a marina guy that told him to get off the docks because they're closing the docks. Why did he stay on the docks? Only Tyreek would know. Maybe he was high. Maybe he was drinking. Maybe he was hanging out with Sean Smith. And then you hear these stories, these accusations with child abuse and woman abuse. We've heard this many, many times when he was coming out of college, that he was very abusive, not only to his child, but his girlfriend. And then it's not his fault. I mean, his house went on fire at the end of the season before the playoffs, and it definitely screwed around with the Miami Dolphins.
Right.
And it hurt, it really hurt the juju of the team the last 2 or 3 games of the season because he wasn't there. And that was one of the reasons why he didn't play in those games. I think it was 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, but it was enough to throw away the division, too, because they had a 3-game lead on the Bills at one point.
And it wasn't his fault. I'm not blaming Tyreek Hill on
No.
it's not his fault, but he's in the news. It seems like this man, and again, I'm not throwing Tyreek Hill under the bus. It seems like every single time Tyreek Hill's name gets brought up in the newspapers, the tabloids, the different websites and different stories, it seems like it's more bad than there is good.
Yeah, and it's enough where they could definitely get to the repeat offender status at this rate if it does end up happening. Because, again, even though they weren't all charges for the other ones in the past, it still was something that can get a reputation up there. And again, this is a woman that's tall, yes, but not like a man, a muscular man like Tyreek Hill is. Breaking a leg is definitely not a good look for that kind of thing. And again, a child is even worse, being he can't protect himself the same way. And the Marine officer, that's a lot of charges all at once. So if this is indeed true, he definitely should be suspended. We'll see if Roger Goodell does it. He loves to throw these things under the bus all the time, but he's definitely something that I know he's a great player. He's a good young, he's a veteran guy now, but he's been good for a long time. But he says he wants to retire in a couple of years too, and so he better not get suspended if he wants to go on that track of, oh, I'm only going to play 2 more years. I want to go start a gaming career. Well, you better not get suspended if you want to get to the legacy you want to get to, especially with the Miami Dolphins. Try to prove your former team in the Kansas City Chiefs wrong.
Well, again, Tyreek Hill has been the face of every single team he's been on, and he's only been on 2 teams. He goes to Kansas City. He was the face of the Kansas City Chiefs. He really was the face of the Kansas City Chiefs, because even though Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback and he stood for the leader of the team and the superstar of the team because he won an MVP and he won a Super Bowl, Tyreek Hill was the face of that team. He was the face of everybody over there in Kansas City. Everybody wanted to meet Tyreek Hill because he's 5'6", 5'7", a speed demon who turned into, he was a punt returner, turns into one of the best wide receivers in the league. He was found in the 6th round or the 5th round by Andy Reid. And look at the talent that he became, and really what the Kansas City Chiefs became with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. Who do we have on the phone?
Jeff,
what's up?
But you are such a fair weather fan. It's hard to listen to you sometimes when you start dogging our New York Jets. You don't think someone's going to trade for the best quarterback in his draft class and Zach Wilson? Come on, dude. That's outrageous.
Oh, so
someone's going to be able to help him.
Okay.
Someone's going to be able.
Nobody's going to help him. He's not going anywhere. He'll be playing for the XFL before you know it. Zach Wilson is not making a roster right now. There's no way. And by the way,
Look,
Speedy actually spelled purposely wrong. He called it purposefully. Okay, so that's why he spelled it wrong. So don't make fun of what Speedy did. All right, so go ahead.
Oh, I'm not. I was
go
making
ahead.
fun of you trying to read it.
Yeah, because I couldn't pronounce it because it's not a word. All right.
Purposefully? Purposefully isn't a word. It actually is a word. We're going to actually get you a dictionary.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Speak again. You're an idiot.
But
You're
this
an
is
idiot.
ridiculous. you're trashing the Jets. First of all, Joe Douglas, best GM in football. Every move he's made has been outstanding, right? You gotta be a real fan, man. And I see you, John Suggs, in the chat calling us like Eagles fans. That must mean we're like champions, right? Like we're really good.
Yeah, with your one Super Bowl.
Hey, it is what it is. We've won it. There's teams out there that haven't won it.
Again, I'm just saying, using the Eagles as that example is not exactly great either.
Again, the Eagles are an organization that has not won a championship since they beat the New England Patriots. They went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they laid a lousy goose egg in the fourth quarter as they let Patrick Mahomes run all over him, all over them, especially when he was limping off the field in the second quarter. So we all know what the Eagles do.
And you're missing like the biggest point of all with the Jets, right?
What is it?
We got everyone right where we want them.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got right where we want them.
Where?
They all think we stink because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Well, guess what? He's coming back 100% healthy. He'll be slinging the ball all over the place. We'll be scoring touchdowns like crazy.
Who's protecting him? Who's protecting him?
It's not going to matter. He'll get the ball out of his hands
Bakhtiari?
really quick.
They're going to bring Bakhtiari, the old man Bakhtiari from the Green Bay Packers who can't even stay healthy. Yeah, let's bring him in.
First of all,
Who else are we going to bring in?
Mekhi Becton's back on a diet, so I'm sure that'll help.
He's
Just
not
like it
making
did
the roster.
before,
He's not even making the team.
right?
They're dropping
Elijah
him.
Vera Tucker's one of the best draft picks Joe Douglas has ever made.
Just don't have him play in
down there.
Denver.
Can't stay healthy.
Just don't have him play in Denver.
Right? But Bryce Huff, he's going to take a hometown discount to stay with the Jets. He's going to help the team and take less money to stay home because
Connor
he
Hughes
knows
already came out and
he's
said that
worthless.
Connor Hughes already said he's not making $20 million. Right now, you're hearing the
Right.
numbers
Right,
between
but he might
12 and
but he
15.
might- right, but he might just settle for 10 so they have money to spend on someone else.
That's not going
He's
to
an
happen.
unselfish player. And he's worthless to anyone else because Robert Saleh made his career. He'll be a bum without him. He knows that.
John also says, let's hope Tyreek Hill doesn't turn into Antonio Brown 2.0. It's definitely possible at this rate. I don't know if it's as crazy yet as what Antonio Brown has done, but it definitely could be getting there at that point. No, John, we actually don't believe that Joe Douglas is the best GM.
I don't think Tyreek Hill is ever going to be like Antonio
Yes, we
Brown.
actually do believe that Joe Douglas is
No, you're the only one that believes that, John.
No, and I do believe that Joe Douglas is still a good drafter. He knows how to draft. He's made
never
mistakes.
missed.
He makes mistakes, but
He's
every
never
single GM makes mistakes. As he made a mistake with Zach Wilson, but
He's never missed.
he's
That's not a
also hit.
mistake.
He's also
That's not a
hit. He's also hit. So you look at it. You mentioned Tyreek Hill. Now Tyreek Hill, he's made some mistakes. He's done stupid things, but he's not Antonio Brown. I don't think anybody could be as bad as Antonio Brown has been over the last couple of years. Have we seen Tyreek Hill take off his shirt and practically strip in MetLife Stadium and walk off the field and tell his coach to kiss his ass? I mean, I haven't seen Tyreek Hill do that. He said other things too, but I'm not going to say it because Mike Evans had, said a couple of things that Antonio Brown was saying on the sidelines.
And then we found out later that I think Antonio Brown was trying to manipulate an injury clause after that, too.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill is not Antonio Brown, but obviously it seems like everything is finding Antonio Brown. All these problems are starting to come out every single time Antonio Brown is off the field. On the field, the guy's unbelievable. He's unstoppable. Nobody can stop him. He really is a cheetah. When he steps off the field, for some reason, this guy thinks he's invincible. And then he does stupid things. He hangs out with the wrong people. He's on a podcast. He says this, he says that. And then what happens is people take him to be a personality. And then when he steps away from the cameras and he steps away from anybody taking video or pictures of him, he's doing stupid things. Why would he beat up a guy from arena? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
Why would he do that? And he definitely was getting sued, and he paid him off so he didn't have to give up his house or give up, I don't know, give up his life.
Yeah, boating license or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, because
What does he care? He's got endless money. He's putting out great rap albums every year.
oh yeah, so
New
is
great rap
so is
albums.
Damian Lillard. Great albums, love them, absolutely fantastic.
Now we have to wait for the
But
Doc
AB
Rivers diss track.
But AB's so good at it, he quit football. Was like, nah, music is my thing. Damian Lillard still has to do basketball. That's how you know he's weak. AB was like, I got this, and he just went and did it.
Well, don't worry, Jeff. Eventually, when Doc Rivers ruins the Bucks, he can write the Doc Rivers diss track.
Maybe that happens.
I think the Tyreek Hill story is a weird story, obviously, and again, he will pay her off. There's no question that he will. If it is true, he will pay her off. She'll get a couple of $1 million and she'll leave Tyreek Hill alone. But it just seems like every single thing he does on and off the field, it winds up chasing him. What's the next thing we're going to hear? Really, what's the next thing? He beats up an Uber driver? I mean, we all know Cam Newton was doing stupid things in an Uber.
Jameis Winston was doing gross things in an Uber.
Yes. So we've heard stories already from quarterbacks, and now, hey, maybe a young or an idiot wide receiver who thinks he's faster than an Uber driver and tries to race an Uber down the road and gets hit by it and then loses his contract. I don't know. With Tyreek Hill, you don't know what to expect. He's all over YouTube. I mean, he's doing his podcast. He has cameras following him. He goes to the mall. He's hanging out at the mall. He's doing stupid things in the mall. I mean, it's become a joke. It's become a joke. It's really become a comedy. He should be a comedian, in the off season. That's what it should be.
Who says he wouldn't be?
I mean, because it is funny. Everything that he does is funny.
Maybe he'll add that to his gaming channel, Comedy and Gaming with Tyreek Hill, when he retires in 2 years, like he claims he's going to do.
It's a joke. It really is a joke. And I feel bad for teams that, and fan bases that follow Tyreek Hill, buy his jerseys and stuff like that, because you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Now, we know how great of a player he is, and we know the organization is they're going to ride or die with Tyreek Hill because he's the best right now. When you look at the numbers, he's the best wide receiver in football. But there's just so much you can take. There's just so much you can deal with on and off the field where you just decide, hey, you know what? He's not worth it anymore. And by the way, he already said that in the next year, he's going to retire. I think he said he signed a 4 or 5 year deal.
Yeah, he said he wants to play 2 more years.
2 more years. So this is his second to last year. So Tyreek Hill is 28 years old? By the age of 30, he's done. So, I mean, and he's probably going to ask for a new contract. So who knows after what he put up this year? What was it, 1,800 yards?
I think he was on that pace before he got hurt at the end of the year. So I think he finished it with a little less than that, but he was definitely on that pace. He was on a 2,000-yard pace, I think, up until like week 11 or something like that. It was crazy.
Because his house burned down.
Yeah, and I think the Chiefs were the first team to hold him like under 70 receiving yards or something that whole season.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I just think it's crazy how you badmouth the Jets, dude. Like, I don't like it. I think
bad-mouthing my team.
Yeah, you're bad-mouthing the Jets. Like, you're blaming some things on some guys that you don't need to. Okay, Joe Douglas missed on Zach Wilson. That's fair. But Mekhi Becton, that wasn't his fault. I blame that on Panda Express. Their food's too delicious. You eat too much of it.
All right, let's bring him in. We have Nathan. He's finally here. You driving?
Yes.
What is up with you guys driving? You have Sean Smith driving to his destination. Now you're driving. You want to come on the show, and you're hanging out in your car.
No, we were covering a basketball game today. That's why.
Oh, so you're covering a basketball game, so you decided, hey, you know what? Why don't you let me on your show? I'm driving home. I need something to do. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, you told me come on at 7:45, so you were still in the car.
Yeah, I said 7:45 because we have Let's Parlay. We have 2 guests, and you're still driving a car. By the way, what kind of car are you driving over there?
I have a pickup truck, Toyota Tacoma.
Oh, yeah? Well, look at them. He's driving in style, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, he's driving in style.
I thought he was.
Yo, what's up, Sean?
Harry's house.
Is Sean in here? So, we had Sean on our show throughout.
Sean's not here. Wait, do you not see it? He's not here. He's not here on Thursdays. He's here on Wednesday.
I mean, in Nathan's defense, we didn't see him yesterday either.
That's true, too. We didn't see Sean. He was like, he was a ghost, as we called him the Black Ghost.
That's right.
So, and he actually liked it. We called him the Black Casper the Ghost. So,
what's up, everybody? What's up, Speedy? What's up, Errol? How you guys doing? What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff, you got a question.
We gotta bring out. You gotta talk about EJ Perry. EJ Perry now.
Hold on, Nathan. Let Jeff speak if you can hear him, and then you could speak. You don't have to go over each other. Go ahead, Jeff.
I started. I was wondering if he's got any hot tips on any more Ivy League quarterbacks.
Any tips on Ivy League quarterbacks to watch, Nathan?
No, not really. No, I don't know. Not really.
I'll tell you what, Nathan. I'll tell you what. I'll give you $20. All right, if you could tell me 5 quarterbacks in this draft class.
All right, ready?
Come on.
5 quarterbacks in this draft class.
Caleb Williams, Drake May. Let's see. Drake May, Caleb Williams. The third one. Man, why am I drawing a blank here?
Do I get $20 if I can name 5 of
No,
pure
I am
quarterbacks
not.
in this draft class?
Jeff, you could have $20 if you name 5 Ivy League players.
Okay, why am I drawing a blank here? Why am I drawing a blank here? I know this. Hold on.
Now he's looking on his computer.
Hold on. Mike Penix, BJ Daniels.
No.
Yeah, from LSU Daniels.
I know who he is. Yeah, that was like years ago, Nathan.
BJ Daniels.
No, but
hold on, Nathan. Jeff's gonna give the bottom 5 quarterbacks.
I could give you the 5 bottom ones. I could go Spencer Rattler, Devin Leary, Michael Pratt from Tulane. I mean, there's endless amounts of bums. He can't even name the top 3.
Don't worry. If Errol listed his 5 bottom quarterbacks, he would just name Rattler 5 times.
Right. So here you go. Michael Pratt, Spencer Rattler, who was
Leary? You said Devin Leary. You said
Devin Leary. Sam Hartman is in the draft. Come on, you can't forget Sam Hartman.
I forgot Devin Leary. How much hype he had a couple years ago. Oh God.
Right. This is what I'm saying. I can name the bottom quarterbacks. He can't even name Caleb Williams.
Nathan, you're muted.
I'll unmute him. All right, Nathan, let's hear it.
Jeff, I named Caleb Williams already. Come on, man.
You named Caleb Williams and Drake
May. He doesn't even know it's Jaden Daniels. He's naming a quarterback that got drafted 8 years ago in BJ Daniels.
I can't believe you couldn't name 5 of these quarterbacks. Not 5 of them. Everybody knows Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix. Those are the 5 top guys.
Nix,
and then there's J.J. McCarthy. He's another one.
Yeah.
Those are the top
BJ Perry.
2 of them played in the national championship.
And one I can't stand, and I knew he was in the draft. Spencer Rattler. Okay, I can't stand.
Spencer Rattler is right. Apparently, I heard that Spencer Rattler is rated higher than 2 other quarterbacks in this draft.
Well, what? Devin Leary, and Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, but they're not any good either for the NFL. And I liked Hartman at Wake Forest a lot, but his downfall since then.
I'm just saying. I mean, come on, man. You're the one writing. You have a team over there. You should be knowing this. You should know this. That's the easiest question. I got. Give me the top 5 wide receivers in this class.
Oh God, you'll never get it.
Marvin Williams. Marvin Harrison.
Come on, man.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, that's one.
I don't know why I'm going.
Come on, man. You don't know.
For
Come
$20,
on.
can I give you 6 of them? Can I give you the 6 of them at the top for $20?
No.
All right, let Jeff do it.
Come on.
Do it. My brain is fried right now. Let Jeff do it.
How about Malik Neighbors? You know who that guy is?
Yes. I know everybody in this draft.
Coleman, come on, bro.
Rome Dunze.
Yep.
You know who that is?
I know who that is.
Yep,
Troy Fraser. Yep. I know everybody. I just drawing the blank on the names.
Hey, Nathan, which quarterback that we mentioned before did Rome Odunze play with?
Caleb Williams.
No, he didn't. Did you say Caleb Williams?
Nope.
No, okay.
Washington. Come on, I'm giving you a hint.
Michael
Who's the
Penix.
quarterback? Yes.
Michael,
Michael.
yeah. Oh my God.
Come on, Niffin. I'm trying to help you here. I mean, you're going to promote the NR Hour, and you don't know who the top 5 guys for quarterback and top 5 for wide receivers? I'll tell you what. Give me the number 1 defensive player in this class. Number 1.
Oh God.
Come on. Come on.
Let's see.
Come on. This is easy. I'll give you a hint. He plays for Alabama.
Oh yeah. A defensive end, right?
No. He's not a defensive end. He's more of a linebacker, but you want to put him at defensive.
You could say edge rusher. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Who is it?
Like I said, I'm drawing blanks on these names. I don't know what.
Hey, Nathan, he shares a first name with the football team you root for.
Oh, Dallas.
Come on. Come on, Nathan.
You know he's looking it up. You know he's.
Come on,
No, I'm
Nathan.
not. Dallas. I don't know, man. Dallas. Winston. Dallas.
Dallas what? Come on. Come on. Just spit it out. Spit it out. We're giving you a chance here.
I'm trying to figure out what was more humiliating. Sean tried to name Mets players last week.
All right, Jeff, give us the top 4. Jeff, give us the top 4 defensive players in this class.
Top 4 defensive players.
Top
That could be
4,
tough because. Well, they could be debatable. Is there room for
yes,
maybe one's 5th or 6th?
Yes.
Okay. Then I would give you 2 from Alabama and Terrion Arnold, or 3 from Alabama. Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then Dallas Turner.
There
right?
you go.
Dallas Turner. Yep.
There you go. That's right. Yep. I know who Dallas is.
Well, I just gave you the top 3 from Alabama. I didn't put them necessarily in that order. But
Right now, it's probably Dallas Turner 1, Kool-Aid number 2. So.
Dallas Turner's going to the Dallas Cowboys.
No, he's
not.
You wish.
He's not falling into the 20s. What are you nuts?
You want to trade another first-round pick to trade up to number 12 or something to get him?
I'll be surprised if Dallas Turner falls out of the top 10. And if he does, he goes 11 to 12.
Right.
I mean,
look, it could happen. A lot of offense at the top.
Sure.
Yes.
A lot of offense at the top.
Yep.
The 3 draft picks are basically guaranteed to be quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, right? So the draft starts at 4, and when the draft starts at 4, you're probably going to see all offense from there too, because you got Maserati Marv and Neighbors at 6. Who knows what the Chargers doing? But that's probably either tight end or offensive line.
They might
right?
trade back, too, if the team wants to draft a quarterback.
Right, legitimately the first 6, 7, 8 picks are probably going to be all offense.
Yeah, I think that too. I think the first 3 picks will be quarterback. The 4th pick will be a wide receiver. That's what I predict. The 5th pick will probably be an offensive line.
Based on trades, though, too. You know what I'm saying? But where it's
the interesting thing, the interesting thing that's everybody's gonna be watching is the Chicago Bears are number 1. What they're gonna do.
They already said what they're going to do. They're drafting Caleb Williams. There was a story coming out, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. Hold on one second, Nathan. We're going to mute you for a second because I want to read this right here. ESPN Bears reporter Courtney Cronin says that the Bears are looking to trade Justin Fields before free agency begins. NFL Network's Albert Breer believes he could see Justin Fields' deal happening during the combine. I don't believe that's going to happen. The Falcons are currently betting favorites to trade for Justin Fields, but the Steelers and Raiders have also expressed interest. Fields' social media manager posted a video of him celebrating at the thought that he would be playing for the Falcons. Fields is from Kennesaw, right? Kennesaw, Georgia, and was recruited by Georgia before transferring Ohio State to Ohio State. Market value expects that the Bears to get a 2nd-round pick and another day 3 pick for a potential trade for Justin Fields. The Bears hold both the number 1 and number 9 overall picks in this year's draft. I believe Justin Fields is going to be traded. I don't believe it'll be during the combine. I think after the combine, when free agency opens up before the draft, I think they'll decide on where and how they're going to move him and what they're going to move him for. I do believe Justin Fields should be held on to by the Chicago Bears. I think they should move out of that number 1 pick, maybe 2 spots, try to keep building this roster and try to add more first-round draft picks in the future. When you look at this team and what this team could be next year, they could be a borderline playoff team. They really could. Yep. And right now, I would bet they have a better chance of making the playoffs next year with Justin Fields than bringing in Caleb Williams and letting him learn a new offense. Now, I do believe Washington is a team that wants to jump from 2 to 1. That's why they brought Kingsbury in. Kingsbury worked with Caleb Williams over there at USC with Lincoln Riley. It makes a lot of sense on why he decided to take that job over the Seattle Seahawks job, because I think the Washington Commanders believe they can jump and get to that number 1 spot to get Caleb Williams. I also believe when you look at the Chicago Bears, they're an organization that doesn't do very well on drafting quarterbacks, as we've seen over the last, 30 years. They're not very good at it. But they have a quarterback, and I believe they won in that draft, because if you look what Trevor Lawrence is, and again, Trevor Lawrence could still be one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. But right now, when you've seen Trevor Lawrence the last 2 seasons, and he went from a very good season to a tier season where I think he dropped from one of the elite quarterbacks in the league to fall into that second tier type of quarterback. And you look at Justin Fields. Justin Fields, when he did play this year, he put up the numbers. He ran the ball very, very well. He looked like he was a really everybody keeps talking about he's just a running quarterback. He's not a pocket present quarterback. He made a lot of throws to DJ Moore. You saw the difference when he had a wide receiver that actually can go for the ball. So I do believe that maybe if Chicago decides to trade out of that pick and add a Marvin Harrison Jr. as their number 2 guy, and you have him on one side and you have DJ Moore on the other, well, then you have something there. And they, again, there's a good chance that one of these running backs that could be available, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, or one of these guys, you can add him to the mix, or one of them to the mix, and then you have an efficient offense. And by the way, their offensive line played very well last year. From a team and an offensive line that was really in the 20s, the year before, they moved all the way up into the low teens. I think they were 12 or 13. Yep. This year, as far as the offensive line is concerned. So they played very well in front of whoever the quarterback was. So if I were the Chicago Bears right now, I think they move out of that pick, try to add at least 2 first-round draft picks, because you can really drop from 1 to 2 and then fall from 2 to 4 or something of that magnitude. And you could still land a Malik Neighbors on the other side and have Malik Neighbors on one side and DJ Moore on the other. It makes a lot of sense.
And again, you look at the enticing for these other quarterbacks, because other teams are going to be scared that they're going to go in the top 3. That could give the Bears other options to do that right away as well. Even if it's not the Commanders and the Patriots trading for them, there could be other teams that could leap in. The Bears could get very similar value to what they got last year. Because remember, they got Carolina went from 9 to 1. So if Atlanta goes from 8 to 1, you got to expect similar value. Ryan Poles is a good GM. He's going to force that kind of similar value.
You think he's a good GM?
I think he's done very well so far in 2 years.
He's a great GM. He's a good GM, underrated GM, in my opinion.
Their late round draft picks are actually really good. I agree with you on Eberflus. I'm still not sold on him as a head coach, and I think the coaching has sometimes held Justin Fields back too, because Justin Fields, I think the bigger reason he didn't develop was he didn't get a lot of passing volume either. The Bears had the lowest amount of pass attempts in 2022, and I think they were like 5th lowest last year. So it just definitely wasn't ideal circumstances. I don't think the roster's perfect yet, but I definitely think it's a lot better than where it was 2 years ago.
They could be a borderline playoff team next year. They could. Go ahead, Nathan. Speak up. Go ahead. Let's hear the rubbish that comes out of your mouth.
Whoa, come on, man.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question. Hold on. Who is the backup quarterback of the Chicago Bears?
Oh, I know.
The backup quarterback?
Backup quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
I know. Pick me.
The backup quarterback for the Bears is what's his name?
What's his name?
That rookie. Shit, I forgot the name. Yes, there you go.
Not Tyson Bagent.
It's EJ Perry.
No, if the GM is good, if you can't even tell me who the backup quarterback is.
I mean, I can answer that question too.
Who's the starting running back of the Chicago Bears? It really was three. It was three running backs.
Right, it's kind of a rotation.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there
three
was
running back.
Herbert, pick me.
who is it?
Montgomery.
Montgomery. He's playing. Oh, wait, hold on. He's playing for the Lions.
I know.
Montgomery. He's playing for the Lions. I love
Yo,
Yes,
No,
John.
first of all,
Foreman could have
no,
taken over the whole second.
No, do you see we had Tyron Crawford came on our show also after your show.
I saw.
Of course he did. You had to get him in. Did you get Sean to come with you too?
This is unreal.
I have one more.
No, but,
I have one more question for you because you're a
No, no,
Dallas Cowboy fan.
Speaking of Saquon Barkley, though, he's interested in Houston right now, I heard.
Yes. Everybody's interested in Houston. They have an unbelievable quarterback in C.J. Stroud, rookie offensive player of the year. They have a great wide receiving tandem in Dell and Collins. I mean, they're going to be good next year, and they're going to be good for many, many years to come. They have a ton of draft stock this year again. I mean, they're set, and they have a great coach in D'Amico Ryan. So I think that everything that the Texans have proven last year, they're going to be even better next year, and they're really the best team in their division. The Jaguars need to prove themselves this coming year because I think they've fallen off. And Indianapolis, is Richardson going to be healthy all season long? And is that shoulder going to be 100% healthy? Because he hurt his throwing arm, and that could affect him moving forward as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, but I have a question for you. One more question before we let you go.
God.
Here's a question because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, right?
You gotta let Jeff go too.
I will. Here's the question, and this is a good one. Who are the two top tight ends on that roster?
Jake Ferguson.
Okay.
And then Peyton Hendershot.
Okay, you know your Cowboys apparently.
All right. One more question, and I'm going to leave you alone now. Who is the second player on the team that had the second most sacks on the team, right behind Michael Parsons?
Oh, that was what do you call it? That was DeMarcus Lawrence.
That's easy. I gave you easy ones. Who's the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys?
Trey Lance and Cooper Rush.
The great Cooper Rush.
All right.
But I want so this Sunday we're doing an event with Dallas Strawberry at the Woodbridge Brewing Company from 5 to 7, and then we just announced that we're doing an event with Jose Canseco April 27 too.
Oh, how wonderful. The guy that ruined baseball. Let's go over there. Let's go meet Jose Canseco and meet the guy that ratted out baseball for many, many years and threw everybody under the bus, which screwed around all these Hall of Famers and all these guys that could have been in the Hall of Fame. Thank you to Jose. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come and meet Jose Canseco and just attack Jose. That's what I'm going to do. You shouldn't be here.
Come to the Woodbridge Brewing Company. Come to the Woodbridge Brewing Company, April 27th.
You want me to pay for tickets?
No, I can get you as media.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll come just to pick on Jose Canseco. That's what I want to do. I'll tell you what. I'll bring his book and I'll tell him to sign it. And then when I give it to him, I'm going to say, here, I'm going to give it to you because nobody's buying it.
This Sunday, Darryl Strawberry's we're doing an event with Darryl Strawberry, so that's gonna be a good one.
I love Darryl. I met Darryl a couple of times. He's a fantastic personality, very big churchgoer, and he speaks at a lot of churches around the country. So I love Darryl Strawberry, fantastic person, and really everything that he's done after baseball really stands out. So Nathan, thank you for calling, buddy. We love you. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you soon.
you guys keep up the great work also, and Speedy and Arrow, you guys do a great job at the show, and also we gotta work together too at some point also.
All right, well, let's stay out of trouble now. You're driving and you're talking on a radio show. That's not safe, man. Are you drinking?
I know.
Are you
No,
drinking?
no.
Smoking?
Like I said, we were covering a basketball game today.
I mean, Derek is drinking a beer right now, I think. I mean, he's getting ready to come on. I think he's drinking a beer, but he's not driving like you. So
Is that your guess? Is that your guess, Derek?
no, Derek is our Let's Parlay, our betting man, our handicapper. I mean, come on, man. You want to make some money, you should be listening. What's wrong with you here? Hurry up. One more question. Now, one more question. Who's the third best quarterback in this class? 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Drake May.
We love you, Nathan. Thank you for calling, bud.
See you guys.
Nathan, NR Hour. Check him out. He's got all his social media. He's fun. He's a funny guy. He really is funny.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. And of course, he thinks Ryan Poles is a good GM. He's a Cowboys fan. Anyone's a good GM compared to what the Cowboys do.
Oh, man. Nathan is one piece of work. Let me tell you. He really is. I mean, all the questions, Jeff, all the questions. We were helping him out. We were feeding him the answers. He didn't know. He didn't know.
And he still almost knows as much as you do.
Oh, shut up, you. Here he goes. There
I
he
mean,
goes.
Pretty close, right? Pretty close, right?
No, not at all. But
no, you don't even know the people's names.
People's names. Could you please? What is wrong with you? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? You're trying to piss me off?
I was standing up for the Jets.
Oh yeah, you were standing up for the Jets.
I'm
You're a
not thinking
Patriot
they're gonna
fan.
try to draft someone from Kensaw.
Goodbye, Jeff. Thank you for calling the show.
Come on, we got to get you help with reading.
I'm
We're
going.
gonna get-
Hang
we're gonna
up the phone on this idiot. He's an absolute jerk off. Okay, it's seriously. I mean, honestly, I have to try to help this guy out. I lead him to stray, and then he speaks and says the dumb things that he does. I will say this. I give Jeff a lot of credit because he knows his college football. I always say that. For all the stupid things that Jeff comes out with his NFL predictions and all that other stuff, the guy knows his college football. He does. And when we do this every single year, when we go from the first round from 1 to 30, Jeff really hits on a lot of them. He does. And remember the year that we hit on almost all of them? We matched all the way up to 25, and we were almost dead on together. But Jeff is good when it comes to college football and college basketball. He knows his college sports. He bets a lot. He's a handicapper. But speaking of bettors, when we come back, our guest, and we do this every single week, there is no Wes, there's no Johnny Reno, there is no Chaz. I think Chaz is lost hanging out with, I don't know, Nathan or somebody else. But when we come back, we will have Mr. Mountaineer himself, Derek Mountain, here on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
What is up, everybody? I am back once again to give you guys all the sports minute. I am the man of the hour, Tommy Scoops. And for today's report, in the NFL, Steelers GM Omar Khan actually says that he has full faith in now going into his third-year quarterback, Kenny Pickett. Although he does add that adding a quarterback will not be a possibility. So there could be another quarterback in the Steelers. Other NFL news: the Chiefs are pretty optimistic that defensive tackle Chris Jones will re-sign with the team. Brett Beach, the general manager of the Chiefs, actually hopes to get it done soon rather than later. Other NFL news: the Vikings are releasing running back Alexander Madison after 5 years with the team. Madison just had his career best 700 yards and 180 carries last season with the Vikings. Switching over into the NBA, Joel Embiid earlier today said that he plans to return from injury despite wherever his team might be, wherever the record may be. He plans to return and help his team make a push to the playoffs.
Other NBA news, the Hawks are actually releasing veteran point guard, 15-year point guard, Patty Mills, after just 19 games in his lone season with the Hawks. Now, it's going to be time for Scoops to Scores, where I'm going to give you a rundown of all the scores going on right now. At halftime, we have the Bucks currently leading the Hornets 70-51, with the Jazz and Magic also matching up right now. Magic currently have a 53-51 lead. The Hawks currently are trailing. Right now, the Nets are leading 39-29, and the Knicks and Warriors are playing right now, with the Warriors leading 43-33. Switching over into hockey right now in the NHL, the Bruins are actually leading the Golden Knights 3-2. And the Islanders actually have a 2-1 lead over the Red Wings as right now. And the Sabres, Lightning, and Canadiens and Panthers game are all right now tied at one piece. That is currently all the time that I have for you guys right now. I'm going to send it back to the boys for the next segment, Let's Parlay.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Daryl Marks, my co-host, the Speedster, Speedy Petey. Are you okay, Speedy? Are you okay? You calm down. Nothing's gone. Everything's good. Everything's good, right? You good? Yeah. You think calm. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including our Sports Loudmouth show. I was about to say legally stuff, but I'm not going to say it. Anyways, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith at 7 p.m. every single Wednesdays and Thursdays. All you have to do to go to our website is go to www.worldwidesportsradio.com and check out all our local listings. I'm like all over the place today. I you know what it is? Last night, I didn't go to bed till 5:30. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't sleep, and I actually went for a walk. And it was windy, and it was rainy outside. And it stopped, and for some reason, for the 50 minutes that I started to walk, it completely stopped. No wind, no rain. And then when I was walking home, it torrential downpour. I was running through the rain. It woke me up. I didn't go to bed till 5:30. I had to get up at 7 o'clock. So I had no sleep last night because I have sleep apnea, and, I'm here. I'm here to entertain you guys, but there's another guy that's here to entertain us, and it's not Worldwide Wes. It is not Chaz. It's not Reno Johnny. It's not Hector. It's not any of those guys. We have Derek Mountaineer Mountain here, and we call this segment every single week, Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
Derek, how is Boston over there?
No complaints over here, Errol. How you doing?
Well, you just heard I didn't get much sleep. I never get any sleep, but last night, for some reason, I couldn't sleep. It was like 3:45, 3:50 in the morning. I said, you know what? I'm taking a walk. I had to walk. I have my girlfriend yelling at me for some reason, yelling at me, what the hell is it? So I throw on my raincoat. I'm walking outside. It's beautiful. It stops raining. It's no more wind. They said it was supposed to be windy, like 20-mile-per-hour winds. And I'm walking outside. All of a sudden, it was like Moses parting the sea. I walked all the way down, probably a mile and a half. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I can walk back. As soon as I started to walk back, the wind started to pick up, the rain started to come down, and I'm running for dear life to my house. By the time I came out here, it looked like it came out of the shower. I said, you know what, I'm not going back to sleep. I wound up watching the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings. I watched the whole movie, and then I had to go to work. So that was my night. Thank you very much. And I'm here.
That's a good night right there.
By the way, I love the Lord of the Rings, and I love the Hobbit. I love those movies, so I could sit and watch them completely through. And as soon as I saw Frodo Baggins and my precious, I had to watch it. But anyways, how are you? How's the family doing?
Good. Same old. Nothing newsworthy, really. They're plugging away. Brian's Brian, but
Brian is Brian. I have to. I know I told Brian the other day I was going to reach out to him this week. It's been a little busy, but I'm going to an event in the next couple of weeks, so I need to speak to Ryan. I mean, Brian. I said Brian. So Brian, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him. As everybody knows, Brian is my agent and my manager, and a guy that pushes me to strive for the stars. I don't know if he says it that way, but you know your brother. He doesn't say it that way. He doesn't use those words, but he tries to beat around the bush. That's what he likes to do. I mean, your brother. He always
That's
says
what they have to do. That's what agents have to do, though. They're the human meat shield for you.
Maybe you should be an agent. I could see you being an agent. No, you don't want to be that. You don't want to be. You want to be your older brother. You are a giant compared to your brothers, by the way. You are an absolute.
Yes,
giant.
it's very weird.
It is. I said that to your father. When I spoke to your father, I think it was like a year and a half ago when I was on the phone with him. I said, man, your sons come in all different sizes. You got a 5'8", you got a 5'11", and then you have a 6'4" guy. I mean, seriously, what are the chances? I mean, your oldest is the smallest. Your middle man, your middle baby, Kyle, he's 5'11", and then your baby is.
I'm the random one. Yeah.
Maybe they just maybe your mom was hanging out with somebody else.
Yes. Okay. Exactly.
But you all look the same, so
yeah.
I doubt that. I don't believe that. But anyways, are you ready to make your picks?
Yeah. So I'm just going 4 in a row.
Yep. 4 in a row, my friend.
All right. So I will start NBA, the second TNT game. So the finals rematch from last year, Heat Nuggets. I'm going to go with Jimmy Butler over 5.5 assists for plus money. He's had 34 in his last 4 games. He's coming back from his 1-game suspension, his questionable suspension where he's put in a headlock last game. There's no Tyler Hero tonight. So I think Jimmy's going to have the ball a lot more in his hands. He's going to play facilitator like he has the last couple weeks. And this matchup, especially against the Nuggets, they're going to throw a lot of wings at him, just like they did last year in the finals. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, a little bit of Jamal Murray. And with those matchups, with all the bodies that the Nuggets can throw at him, I think Butler's going to have the chance to be more of a point guard tonight, more of a facilitator. He's going to lean more on guys like Bam, Terry Rozier to score and to keep the game close against Denver. So I'm going to take his over on assists at 5.5. Next, I will go to college basketball. My next 2 picks, I'll stay in college basketball. So I'm going to go to the Gonzaga-San Francisco game. I'm going to take the points with San Francisco, the Dons. They played Gonzaga really tough a month ago at Gonzaga. They lost by 5. They were leading at halftime. I think they match up really well against this Gonzaga team who sits squarely on the bubble. Gonzaga needs this game, but what comes with those kinds of games, the other team can play spoiler. They might be pressing a little bit, Gonzaga. And San Fran just matches up well. Like I said, they had a close game last month, but this team is top 15 in the country in terms of effective field goal percentage on defense. They have a true rim protector in Jonathan Mogba, who is probably the best player in this game. For my money, he's a real NBA prospect. He is one of the only guys in the West Coast Conference that can contain Graham Ike, the big man of Gonzaga. And the Gonzaga guards, they're pretty iffy. So I really think the San Fran defense can kind of turn up the heat on them. They force turnovers at a high rate. You're getting 4.5 points here, so we don't have to win the game. We can even lose by 2 possessions. We can lose by 4 points, still win the spread here. So I'm going to take San Fran plus 4.5 points tonight. And my second college basketball pick, going to be the late slate again, USC with the points. They are plus 7.5 against Washington State. Washington State is coming off a tough loss, so I don't love the situational spot in terms of fading a Washington State team that's probably going to be sharper tonight, coming off a very bad loss against Arizona State. But 7.5 points is a lot of points to lay for a team that plays one of the slowest in terms of pace, in terms of tempo in the country. According to KenPom, Washington State is 319th in the country in Division I out of 362 Division I teams. So they're in that bottom quadrant in terms of pace. They play at a snail's pace. They want to make it a half-court game. That's fine. USC has the better guards in this game. Isaiah Collier has played much better. Boogie Ellis has played much better. USC's been able to hang tough against the likes of Arizona. They beat UCLA recently. They beat Oregon. So they've been a really disappointing team at large the entire year. Their out-of-conference slate was not good, but they've gotten it together in the Pac-12. They have the better guards in this matchup. I worry about their size disadvantage in this matchup. But again, like I said, they have the better guards. We got to keep this one within 7. They're getting 7.5 points here. So I will take the points with the USC. And my last pick, I'm going to go back to the NBA. I'm going to take another underdog. This is one where you're going to have to kind of hold your nose here. I don't like the team we're betting on, but I'm just taking the situational spot. We're taking the Wizards plus 9.5 against the Lakers. Look, the Lakers had a great game last night on ESPN. Errol, you might have stayed up and watched it since you were up late last night.
I did actually. I did watch the game.
Down 21 points. Lakers come storming all the way back. LeBron has 19 of his 34 in the fourth quarter. I mean, a vintage LeBron performance. He's been fantastic this year, but that game is going to kind of empty the gas tank for the Lakers. Coming off a back-to-back, they got the Wizards. This is just a sleepy spot, right? LeBron has the questionable tag, so if LeBron doesn't play, that helps us. But even if he does play, he's coming off 37 minutes. He was carrying that team in the fourth quarter. I don't think they're going to be very sharp tonight. In this spot specifically, the Lakers are 3-8 against the spread on the second game of the back-to-back this year. They're 0-4 in the same spot as favorites. So I'm just going to take the situational spot here. I don't like betting my money on the Wizards. It's not fun, but they're 27-29 against the spread this year. It's not a good team, but they cover the number basically half the time. So let's just hope they keep this one within 9 points. They're getting 9.5 here. So I will take the Wizards as my final pick.
All right, quickly before we go to break and get our guest on, Wes had texted a couple plays as well. He's got Coastal Carolina covering plus 15 against James Madison. That is tomorrow. He's got in terms of Utah State and Air Force covering 16.5. He's got Dayton -2 at Loyola Chicago, and then Tennessee on Saturday +6 covering against Alabama.
Derek, before we let you go, is LeBron James worth $60 million a year?
On the floor, no, but economically, maybe. In terms of everything that he brings to your franchise, maybe.
Yeah, but does he bring winning right now to your team? I doubt it.
It's not his fault the Lakers are where they're
So you're going to give him $60 million? Derek, come on. You can rebuild this team. Trade him away.
What else are they going to do?
Trade him. I would trade him. I'd say, LeBron, where do you want to go?
He doesn't want to.
I mean, nobody's drafting your son. He stinks. I mean, seriously.
He's not going to do that, though. He's not going to. What do you trade him to whoever? He's not going. He's not doing that.
I disagree. I think LeBron James should be traded. I'm not paying him $60 million, 3 years, $60 million contract for. I think it's $180 million altogether. That's what he wants. That's what he's asking. I mean, he's made enough money. He's a multi-billionaire, and even though he's taken less when he played for Miami, he wanted to win those championships. And then he decided to go back to Cleveland, play with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, and he wins another championship. I do believe LeBron James could still play at a high level, but could he win again? And could you win with LeBron James with two other superstars on the team? I don't know. I don't know. He has Anthony Davis right now on the team. He has a bunch of nobodies, and they're not really winning. I think they're the 10th seed right now in the Western Conference. I'm not overpaying LeBron James when I need to figure out how I can take that team to the next level. Again, I mean, they've always been a winning organization. They've always gotten the superstars. I say superstars because they do, but superstars. And Magic Johnson seems to, talk these guys into coming and playing for the Lakers. I just have this problem right now. I think the Lakers are on their way out and down, and I think the Lakers in the next 10 years are not going to win a championship. No matter what they do. Now they're talking about Donovan Mitchell going there, and there's no way Donovan Mitchell's going over there. And if they pay LeBron James $60 million a year, how are they going to pay Donovan Mitchell? So it doesn't make sense. That's my spiel over there with LeBron James. I think LeBron should be traded. Ask LeBron where you want to go, except New York. Keep New York out of your mouth. I don't want to hear New York. Keep him away from New York. Go to Brooklyn. Go play with the selfless Kevin Durant team. All right. So, who, by the way, spoke about that too, about the Knicks and choosing between the Knicks and the Nets when he had a chance to choose between both of them. So my thought here is if you look at where LeBron James is, they have no chance in hell of winning. Move on from LeBron James. Move on to that. Move on and try to bring in some young players and young kids to move forward with this team and this organization. But Derek, we will speak next week. Hopefully you come on so we have you and Wes. Everybody's waiting for you to go back and forth. But we love you. Keep up the good work. Say hello to the girlfriend.
I will. Thanks, guys.
Derek, Mountaineer Mountain, fantastic personality. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the Sports Loudmouth, we have to make him smile. I mean, come on. We need to make this guy smile. We always make all our guests smile. Speedy, this is a very important thing that we need to do when we come back. When we come back, we will be talking to Carolina Panthers defensive lineman Chris Wormley here on the Sports Loudmouth.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Oh, I like this. Chris likes this. Come on. It's a little before his time. Or he was a baby when this came out. 631. Yes, you heard it. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and listen to our shows and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Thank you to Derek for Let's Parlay. And now for the first time on our show, we are introducing and we are now talking to Carolina Panthers defensive lineman Chris Wormley. Chris, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we got to make you smile. I mean, there's a lot to smile about. Season's over. I mean, you get a chance to watch the Combine. You get to watch some of the next superstars. We have J.J. McCarthy. I mean, you're from the University of Michigan, so you should be excited. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh is back in the league. He's coaching the Chargers. Maybe you get a chance to play him this year. Who knows what happens? But anyways, how are you? How has the offseason been for you for the last couple of weeks?
Life's been good, man. Been back home with the family. Been able to enjoy some downtime. Got to watch some of the Combine today. I think Michigan has the most players from any college this year, so there's a lot of guys that I get to tune in and watch. So it's an exciting time right now. Obviously, you kind of go about a little less than a month from the Super Bowl with a little bit of a football lull, but now you get back into it with the Combine, the draft, free agencies, heating up here in the next couple of weeks. So it's exciting time for football, even though there aren't any games being played.
You're a young guy, and you grew up in Toledo, Ohio. It's a different place of living. Ohio is a boring place to live. I mean, ask LeBron James. But what is it like? What is it like playing football over there? How big is football over there in Ohio?
I would say Ohio is a top five state for high school football. It's a lot better than New York football where you guys are at. And but no, it's good, man. It's a lot of cornfields, a lot of flat lands, not many beaches like you guys do in Long Island, but it was cool. It was cool to be raised there and to grow up there. Going to Michigan was a little tough. Being from Ohio, got a lot of crap for that, but made the right decision, I think, in my mind. But it's been good. Ohio's good to me.
Have you been to Long Island? Have you checked out the beaches over here?
No, I have one of my good buddies from college is from Long Island, and he hypes it up pretty good. So I got to make it out there one time.
Listen, you got to come out here. We'll show you around. There's beautiful wineries. The summer. I am not a big fan of the heat. Okay, I hate the heat. This weather, 45, 46 degrees, my kind of weather, man. It's just me. But we have beautiful weather over here. I mean, there's beautiful women. I know you're probably married. I'm
married, 2 girls, man, 2 kids.
Right.
So I'm
gonna stay close. Bring your wife and your kids.
She'll enjoy the wineries.
Yeah, Fire Island. Have you ever been to Fire Island? I mean,
never heard of it.
It is beautiful. You take a ferry over there. There's beautiful beaches, beautiful clubs, and for grown-ups and kids and all this other stuff. So there's a lot to do over here in Long Island. I think you really should check it out. But
yeah, you're selling me. You're selling me.
Listen, I could sell you more, man. I could sell you more. I mean, our sports teams absolutely blow, but I mean, if you're coming to watch the Jets or the Giants, good luck. If you're coming to watch the Rangers and the Islanders, at least you have the Rangers. And the Knicks are playing great basketball, but the Nets look like a pee-wee basketball team. So our sports are just perfect. And you're right. We are in New York college, New York high school football isn't the best, but New Jersey football is pretty good over here. So we have some good football players that come out of here, the tri-state area, right, Speedy?
I would say so. So I wanted to ask you. You mentioned the rivalries of the rivalries of you playing at Michigan. You also played with 2 rivals of the Ohio football teams, the Ravens and the Steelers, and 2 of which have iconic coaches for this era, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. Like, what are some of the big differences with their coaching styles?
I would say both are great. I was very fortunate to be drafted to Baltimore, and then I was traded from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. Only the second player in the in the history of the Ravens and Steelers to be traded amongst each other. But like I said, I was very fortunate to be drafted by Harbaugh and the Ravens. And Harbaugh is very he's a great coach. I think he's very he likes things to go his way. He's very stuck in his ways when it comes to how he wants things done, which is fine. It's worked for him, and I learned a lot of discipline and hard work from him. And Tomlin is definitely more of a player's coach. Both great in their own respects, and I learned a lot from playing from both of them. But I think as I get older, I lean towards being around Tomlin a little more. Once I kind of got the understanding of the NFL, how it's ran, how you should conduct yourself day in and day out, especially on game days, I leaned a little bit more towards Coach Tomlin's coaching style.
We are talking to Carolina Panthers defensive lineman Chris Wormley. Chris, your Michigan Wolverines won a national championship finally. Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL. Where were you at the time when the Wolverines won their first national championship in a very long time?
Man, I was driving back home from Charlotte back to Michigan. Had a little issue with my U-Haul trailer on the way back in the middle of West Virginia, so I just caught it on the radio for the whole game. I thought I was going to make it back in time for the second half, and got a little sidetracked in the middle of West Virginia. So watched it or listened to it on the radio. Incredibly happy for the guys. Couldn't have happened to a better group of guys, and excited for Jim and what he did and what he had to go through to get to that point. I played for him my last 2 years at Michigan, and to see where he took that program to where it was when we were 5-7 in 2014 to 10 years later, a national championship. It's pretty special, not just for those players and the coaches there, but everyone who has played for the winged helmet.
So Jim Harbaugh now transitions back to the NFL. What do you think the second time around his coaching style will be like from what he's done at Michigan to now in comparison to what he did with the 49ers?
Yeah, I think a lot has changed in 10 years since he's been in the NFL. Obviously, he was very successful with the 49ers, NFC championships, went to the Super Bowl and lost to his brother back in, I think, 2012. Yep. But he's seen the transition from obviously the NFL to the college, and now college back to the NFL. But there are so many things over these last even really 2 or 3 years in college that have made it seem more like the NFL with NIL. And what those guys are coming in from high school expecting, and now he gets to transition to what those top guys, those top rookies are looking for when they get to the NFL. He's going to have a little less control when he gets back to the NFL. I think he enjoyed that control when he was at Michigan. But these are grown men now. A lot of guys have mortgages and car payments and families and private schools they got to pay for. So they're not going to be looking for a babysitter. They're going to look for a coach who's had a lot of success and a coach who knows how to win. I think that's that's going to happen with Jim. Obviously, they have a great quarterback in Herbert, and to have an offensive-minded coach now with Harbaugh, I think it's going to be a pretty nice duo with those guys for a long time.
Chris, there was a lot of questions this year for the Carolina Panthers and the coaching. I thought Frank Reich was going to be a coach for there for a very, very long time, and something happened. Some people said he lost the locker room. Some people said he wasn't getting along with certain players. Some people said that the coaching staff weren't seeing eye to eye. I mean, obviously, I know you don't want to throw your team under the bus. Was there something going on that nobody knows about with the Carolina Panthers on why Frank Reich was let go?
I mean, I think bottom line is we sucked. we went 2-15, and that's on the players, that's on the coaches, that's on the front office, that's on everybody that was involved in the organization. And when you have an owner like Mr. Tepper who wants results really fast and who's been successful in every other venture of his life, it's kind of like a put up or shut up type of business. That's the NFL in general. I think. If I was a head coach, I would have liked to see myself stick it out for at least the year. But those are tough decisions you have to make as an owner and as a front office. I don't know if it was necessarily one thing that stuck out that was like, hey, we got to fire this dude. Because like I said, going 2-15, there are so many different issues and things that go wrong within a season that it's hard to be like, oh, the receivers weren't catching the ball or the defensive line weren't getting sacks. Or Frank Reich wasn't calling the right plays. It was, a list of things that went wrong going 2-15. And when you're the head guy, you usually take the brunt of it and take most of the blame.
So Brian Burns and Derek Brown both had tremendous years that kind of went under the radar because of, like you said, just the team struggling as a whole. So a lot of people forgot about it. Now they both have big offseason decisions to make, and the Panthers have big offseason decisions to make. What are they like as teammates, for one? And number two, what do you think they are worth, like in the free agency market or with the Panthers?
Yeah, two great players that I know want to stay in Carolina. I know the fans want them to stay in Carolina. If I go back there next year, I want to be able to play alongside those guys because those guys are great up and coming players who have been ascending for the last 4 and 5 years. If you're putting a dollar amount on those guys, the salary cap just went up by $30 million. So I know their agents are talking to Dan Morgan, who's the new GM, and trying to work out deals, especially before free agency opens up. But it's going to be exciting to see what they do. Brian obviously can do it all, really. Get sacks, can rush the passer. He can get tackles for loss. He can set the edge. Derek Brown is a force in the middle. He set the NFL record for D tackles with the most tackles this year. And two guys who are very durable and can play 90% of the snaps. So I think their value is going to be I think they put their value out there the last couple seasons and what they should be paid. And I'm excited to see them to get everything that they deserve.
We are talking to Carolina Panthers defensive lineman Chris Wormley. Chris, everybody throughout the season were taking shots at Bryce Young. I mean, obviously the Carolina Panthers move up. They bring in Bryce Young. There were some questions about C.J. Stroud winning offensive rookie of the year, and Bryce Young really has taken the brunt. And a lot of people have been throwing him under the bus. Not your team, but everybody else. I've been throwing him under the bus. He's too small. He doesn't fit in the NFL. His body type doesn't fit in the NFL. What could you tell us about Bryce Young that other people don't know? And tell us why you believe Bryce Young could be a star in this league.
I think first and foremost, he's a hell of a leader. He was a captain this year, and normally rookies, they're told to be seen and not heard. And he had to step up and voice his opinions on some things. He had to step up and speak up when most of the time or sometimes you really are, like I said, you're supposed to just be seen and not heard. Obviously the season didn't go the way he wanted or really the whole organization wanted. But I have confidence in him have a better year next year. I'm excited for the Panthers to bring in some pieces around him to help him grow and mature and build around him, because he's going to be around for at least 2 or 3 more years. You trade up, you give away a couple first round picks, you trade, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey's gone. He wasn't a part of that trade, but you look at the pieces that they had this year, and I know they're going to be looking to build around him. I'm excited to see what they can do in this next month or so of free agency. And another year of an offseason with the team. Obviously, it's a new head coach, so trying to learn that playbook for Bryce is going to be another challenge. But he's a smart kid. But I know another year under the belt of just figuring out the NFL world is going to do him some good, and I'm excited for him.
So a comment and a question from our comment section. John says, since you're in North Carolina now, you should visit the Biltmore, he says. And one of our fans, Carl, who's a Michigan fan, asks, if NIL was around when you were in college at Michigan, what Ann Arbor restaurant would you want to have a deal with?
Oh, man. First of all, I've never heard of Biltmore. So I got to check that back out when I get back to Charlotte. Unless it's like a strip club or something, I gotta stay out of those.
You didn't specify, but
Yeah. So maybe I'll do my research before I
He's
dive
married.
in.
I got myself into trouble. He's married. He has 2 kids.
Yeah. But if I had NIL, there's this place called Frida Batidos. It's a Cuban-inspired really burger joint in Ann Arbor, and it's my all-time favorite restaurant that I've been to. It's not the prettiest place. They have picnic benches inside for seating, but phenomenal food, phenomenal drinks. I would have begged to get an NIL deal with them.
Chris, you look at your position, defensive line, and there's a lot of good defensive linemen that have been waived this offseason. And now you're looking for a job. Is there a particular team, if not Carolina, you would like to play for, a coach that you would like to play for?
Man, I would love to go back to Pittsburgh. I spent 3 seasons there and tore my ACL at the end of my 3rd year there in 2022, and would love to go back there and finish out my career if it's not for Charlotte and the Panthers. Also, we wouldn't mind spending the next couple of years out in Los Angeles with Harbaugh. Good weather, a good team. I think they need some pieces on the defensive side of the ball and offensive line to get things really going for Herbert. I would also love to stay since I live in Michigan now in the off seasons. I'd love to play for the Lions. They have a great team going. I grew up in Toledo, so the Lions were always on TV growing up, and it was sad times. I wasn't even a Lions fan growing up because of how poor they were. And now seeing what they've built over the last 2 years, 2-3 years with Dan Campbell, and those young guys that they have around them, the young pieces they have, it's an exciting time in Detroit and the state of Michigan, and I'd love to be a part of that as well. But honestly, at the end of the day, whoever's writing my checks, I'll play for. But if I had to choose, and if I was a GM of a team, I would say those 4 teams for sure.
I will say this. I didn't hear anything with the Jets, okay? I'm a Jet fan. I'm a sad Jet fan, so I didn't hear it. The Lions. He mentioned the Lions, a team that actually is coming out of the woodwork after this year, and Dan Campbell and what we've seen with Laporta and Gibbs and St. Brown and all the talent that they have over there. Not the New York Jets. Oh, no. New York is not the place I want to go. I want to go back to Carolina, Pittsburgh, LA, or Detroit. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he said Detroit over New York. Chris.
Listen, I'm a Midwest guy. I live 45 minutes from Detroit now. I wouldn't have to move. My daughter could go to school there.
I'm not going to hate you.
Stay in school here.
I love you, man. I love you. I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
Listen, I visit New York. I got 2 good buddies that live there. The food's phenomenal.
Oh, it's the best. Can't lie about that.
The city's phenomenal. It gives me a little anxiety if I stay there longer than 48 hours. So I might have to live in Jersey and just take the bridges over for dinner every once in a while. But New York's a great city. Like I said, whoever's writing my checks, I'm the biggest fan of.
All right. I'm going to make a pitch for you. I'm going to make a pitch for you. Okay.
I'm listening. Yeah.
Woody Johnson. Woody, you got one hell of a first name, man. And I don't know if you have a Woody, and if you do have a Woody, maybe you should take your Woody out and write a check to Chris Wormley, okay? We need some defensive line help. It seems like every single defensive lineman we bring in free agency can't stay healthy. Chris Wormley is the guy. He doesn't have a tear in his ACL anymore. No Achilles problems. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's an ex-Michigan Wolverine. As we know, Carl loves them. And listen, it's not Jimmy. We have a guy named Robert, and he is Salah. He's Salahing or sailing, Speedy, sailing away. I mean, seriously, Chris Wormley, you are fantastic. You agree. Have you done this before?
I had a podcast back in the day when I was in Pittsburgh with some local Pittsburgh guys, some Yinzers, as we like to call them. And it was fun, man. Love talking sports, love talking about ball. So,
okay, let me ask you a question. What was your favorite sport after football when you were a kid?
Like playing or watching?
Watching.
Probably basketball.
Who's your favorite team?
Growing up, it was the Pistons.
The Pistons.
I grew up with like Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince. That's when I started really getting into football or basketball. My favorite player of all time is Shaq. At one time, I was always the tallest kid, and watching him and Kobe, when I was real little, was awesome. Obviously, fan of Kobe as well. Being from Ohio, not the biggest LeBron fan, which a lot of people are shocked at, but he would always, when LeBron was coming up with the Cavs, his first stint with them, he would always beat the Pistons, and they would have battles back and forth in the playoffs. So I despised them. Like I was like, I wanted the Pistons to win. I wanted them to continue winning championships, and LeBron kind of threw a dagger in that and kind of really broke them up. And now we've seen what the Pistons have been for the last 15 years or so. It's been pretty sad.
I want to, and we're going to introduce somebody because this guy is also a guy that's been on our show quite a few times. He attacks me, but I think you know who he is. He played in the NFL. Okay. I'm going to introduce him. I'm going to bring him in right now so Chris Wormley can introduce himself. I'm sure our friend Pete Bursick knows who Chris Wormley is. Pete Bursick, what is going on, my friend?
Nothing. How are you?
Oh, you look so happy to talk to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in Indianapolis for the last 3 days or 2 days, whatever, and just got back today. So, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? What do you want to know? What do you want me?
Before we have Chris Wormley on. Okay.
Hi, Chris. How are you? I apologize. I hate to. Unfortunately, I got to meet you under these circumstances, but that's okay.
That's all right. These are good guys, man. They're good guys.
No, I know they are. I know.
Pete, I want you to do me a favor here. I want you to pitch your Minnesota Vikings to Chris Wormley. Go ahead, pitch him.
How, in what way?
He's a defensive lineman. You guys need some defensive line help.
You know what? Let me say this. I don't know if you know Brian Flores or not, or how well you know if you're familiar with the scheme. I've been around. I played in the league, coached in the league. This is almost my 29th year or whatever. I don't think I've ever seen a system that is more friendly to defensive linemen, especially interior defensive linemen.
100%.
With all of the guys that we walk up on the line of scrimmage, it's just so hard for teams to double team. Because you know this, in a lot of the 5-man fronts, and teams want to play cover 2 behind it, so you're short in the run. So what does that mean? It means everybody up front's got a 2 gap, right? Yep. You got to hold up. You got to hold up against the double teams, and first, second quarter that's fine, but third and fourth quarter, whereas it's tough. But if there's a spot, I think if I was a defensive tackle, and regardless of money, regardless of weather, regardless of all that kind of stuff, they play
the dome. It's okay. There's a dome there.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We're good. So it's. I think it's just a fabulous place. I'm not Rob Brzezinski, so I'm not going to sit here and talk about the facility. I mean, the stadium's unbelievable. The facilities are unbelievable. Rated number 2 on the player survey. I think they barely got, I can't remember who beat them out, but Miami, because it's Miami and there's no state income tax.
Hard to beat.
Right.
No,
hard to beat Miami.
I was fortunate to be with Brian Flores for a year in Pittsburgh after he got let go from Miami. Yeah. Tomlin brought him in as our linebackers coach, and I think we were 32nd in the league in 2021 in the run game, stopping the run. And he came in and implemented a lot of stuff, put his kind of footprint and game planning each week. And he was obviously with the linebackers, but was really heavily into gap fits and where we all fit and how we all play off of each other. And we went from, like I said, 32nd to I think at least the top 10 run stopping team in 2022. So it was familiar with him, familiar with how he wants things to be done. And, Minneapolis doesn't scare me when it comes to cold.
And when it comes to, again, and so you talk about those guys up front, but the guys right behind them too, the linebackers. I mean, it's fun. It's got to be a fun place to play because you're not playing quarters all day long and just chasing crossing routes and mismatches and things. You get to blitz quite a bit. You get to get after the quarterback. You get to be aggressive and I can't think of a better fit for you. So why don't we so I can send the paperwork to you?
Yeah, let me know.
You want me to fax it over to you now?
Yeah,
or...
two weeks from now when free agency opens up, you send it over. I'll send you my email, however you want to do it, and we'll get it done.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome. It would be awesome though. I think with anyone in this league, playing for Brian Flores, I think it'd be a treat. I was lucky. I played for Tony Dungy, Monty Kiffin, and Foge Fazio, guys like that, and having good coaching matters. It really it does. It's going to extend your career. It's going to make you a better player. Hopefully, in the big picture, make you some more money. But we made a big jump. I know. Listen,
that's a way better pitch than the Jets.
I'm just saying, yeah, right.
Don't tell him that. He's going to attack me the whole time.
I'm talking to him the way you should talk to a player, not about who's our starting quarterback and who's the guy that we can't. Who's the guy we can't?
Long Island and the winery.
Who can't we can't trade? Long Island. Listen, you want to play for the Jets? Here's something for you. You're gonna have 20 road games a year. Because you practice on Long Island. You realize how far of a drive and how long it takes to drive from Long Island out to New Jersey where you play your games?
I live in the Midwest because I despise traffic.
Yeah, okay. Well, you better take a look at pull out your Google Maps and go from the facility to the stadium, see how long that takes. I worked for a guy named Ted Cottrell, who's defense coordinator at the Jets, and he was telling about how when a game got out of hand either way. These are Jets fans, right? Just like the guy right above me, just like him. If the game was out of hand either way, third going into the fourth quarter, fans would just go because they want to beat the traffic through the tunnel.
Oh yeah,
so.
Don't worry, like our friend Dion Dawkins said before, the Jets are a bunch of weirdos.
Hey, why don't you play that? Give us a little Dion weirdo. I call him Dion weirdo.
And why would you want to play for one of two teams in the NFL that only have two colors on their uniform?
Oh, so that's the reason.
Green and white. What? Yeah,
that's the reason.
I'm just saying. It is what it is.
Listen, you know what? Don't send a fax because Barry Sanders did that when he retired. Okay, it never worked. Okay, I knew you liked that, Chris.
I did see the Dion Dawkins. I saw a couple clips of that. That guy's hilarious.
That it is. He is really, really funny. But it's so funny. I'm not going to pitch the Jets because there's nothing to pitch. I mean, we have a coach that doesn't know where he is half the time. We have an offensive coordinator that doesn't know his ass from his tailbone. We have a backup quarterback or whatever he is, who wants to screw around with older ladies and doesn't know how to throw a football. We have a defense that shows up in the first half and doesn't show up in the second. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on.
Wait, hold on. I thought we were supposed to be pitching.
I'm trying.
He gave up 20 minutes ago.
I gave up.
He's pitching why not to join the Jets.
Pretty much. I mean, and by the way, the Jets haven't made the playoffs in about 13 or 14 years. So it's definitely not a pitch, and it's not something that I really want to do or help you out if you decide you want to go to the Jets. If you want to go to the Jets, hopefully they pay you a lot of money because you're going to need it, because most of the time you have guys like Mecole Hardman crying that he doesn't get enough playoff time, Tom. So I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know with my team. I wonder sometimes why I became a Jet fan.
See, Pete, think of it this way: Mecole Hardman leaked the Jets' plays to the Eagles and the Chiefs, and like, we don't need to stop.
Yeah,
that.
he leaked the game.
we don't need to stop that. It's the Jets offense.
He leaked the plays, and the Jets had their best games against those two teams. What does that tell you about the New York Jets?
Maybe they took it for granted.
I don't know. Maybe they should just post it on YouTube before the game. Just
All right,
take pictures
Chris,
of it.
before
and
we
send
let
it
you
out.
go, Chris, we let you go, I mean, who do you think dances better, you or Pete?
Oh, I have zero rhythm.
Chris,
Zero.
before you're on the show for the last time, I mean, what do you want? You want him to come back, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Right? I mean, this is part. This it's probably him being on this show is probably part of his probation or something. There's some reason why he was forced to come on this show, and
No,
you're going to do that.
They
You're going to do that.
They kept blowing up my DMs, and I'm like, shit. I'll just let me just get on the show before they'll stop messaging me.
Yeah,
I
so
can block them.
shut you guys up.
Oh,
they didn't say. They didn't say like with me when they said, "Well, we got pictures, we've got all this hush money payments and things like that." They didn't threaten to bring that out. No,
They didn't send a fax to you.
Not yet. I was looking for the facts.
Good Lord.
Well, hey, listen, Chris, we love you, and we would love for you to come back on the show. You're
Anytime,
fantastic.
fellas. Anytime.
Great personality, you really are, and we really appreciate the time. Good luck on the off season, and wherever you go, we're a fan, and we will
Thanks,
stay
fellas.
in touch with you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
All right, see you in purple.
We were just talking.
I'm saying. I mean,
Line of Panthers defensive lineman Chris Wormley, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we never gave him a proper introduction, and we love him because me and him just go at it every single time he comes on the show. We are now talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network broadcaster Pete Bursick.
How you doing, man?
We're good, man.
Nothing. I was at the combine for the first time since 2006. The last time I was at the combine, I was looking for a job. So I didn't feel like going back there. But yeah, 30 years ago, I actually went through the combine as a player. So that was an experience. Did it, for 4 years, 5 years coaching, and then, looking for a job. And so it was being part of it. It was actually a good place to be because it's so much different now with the media, and you can actually see the players. You can ask them questions when they're up on the podium if you want. And there's so many other people, in our business that are there. People like Rick Spielman, who used to be our GM. He's there at CBS Sports, so it's great to see him. And just a lot of Dave McGinnis, the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He's now with Tennessee, who's one of my favorite guys to talk to. Now there's a guy to get on this show. If you want to get a dude on the show that's old school, he was the Bears linebacker coach in 1980. I think he started in 86 or 87. So, Wilbur Marshall, Mike Singletary, Otis Wilson. I mean, then you had, Hampton, McMichael, Dent, Perry. I mean, but the stories, all this wrapped up, in a beautiful Buddy Ryan package, right? So, I could sit there and listen to him spin yarns all day long. So anyway, my point is, it was good.
And obviously, today was the first day for the combine, and we got a chance to watch some of the defensive linemen. Has anything stood out to you so far at the combine? Is there a player that really stands out to you, that sticks out to you like a sore thumb for the Vikings?
Well, for the Vikings, it's kind of a big deal. A couple things I think for Vikings specific came out. One was, that the management, and they have no interest in trading Justin Jefferson. I mean, somehow that got put out into the ether, and they never really commented on it, and some people just thought there's something to it, maybe. I don't know, but that and they do want to sign Kirk Cousins. They do want to bring him back, and I think you'd say that with an asterisk, right? I think that there's going to be, he needs to. It's the guaranteed money. It's how deeply do the Vikings have to tie into him? And I think they'll tie into him as deeply as they have to, depending on free agency. We'll see. So those are a couple things that we learned, and learned about this draft class of quarterbacks. There might be 6 of them that go in the first round, so there's a lot of talent in that respect. I do prefer watching and learning about the defensive linemen. So I I looked at some of them, kind of a little bit before I went out there, and then when I look at our defense, man, I'll tell you what, I would love the 2 guys from Florida State. Jared Verse is unbelievable. I think he can he'd really be a perfect outside linebacker for us. And then the other guy I liked a ton was Braden Fisk, who's just kind of he's a brawler, right? And when I was talking about the middle of the defense, man, I'm like, this is, with Flores, it's the place to be. But watching, that kid, how the get off and the acceleration off the football, things like that. There's certain traits that that both these guys have that if you watch a Jared Verse highlight, that's kind of the cool thing is whenever he watches a little highlight film and he's sacking the quarterback, and then Fisk is always somewhere right there. So the 2 of them, were very impressive. So we'll see. I mean, we need some D linemen. I know that we need bodies, and
I'm going to pitch him for you because guess what? I'm a Seminole fan. I grew up a Florida State.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm going to pitch him, baby.
Here we go.
You got 2 monsters.
Don't worry, this will be better
one
than
on
the Jets
the outside, one on the inside. Why don't you go after both of them?
I would. I mean, again, I don't know everything about him. I'm not a scout, right? All I'm saying is with what I've seen and what little bit I have seen on tape, because these guys, they watch.
Did you watch them both against Louisville?
No, not specifically against Louisville. I haven't gotten that far down the road. We'll get as we get closer to the draft, and we as a team with the Vikings Entertainment Network, you say, all right, you take these guys, these D linemen, you take, then I'll sit down and we'll study them a little bit more. But from what I've seen, yeah, the guy's fantastic. I mean, both those guys.
Verse is very good on the outside. He's very fast. He's probably the fastest defensive lineman in this class. And I was looking at the comparison of Myles Garrett. I think he's a little bit smaller than Myles, but he can come off the edge pretty quick, and he's very good. Yeah. He's very lengthy, and he has good hands. I think if the Vikings have a chance to get him, but now some people think he could jump in and actually fall in the top 10. I don't think he does. I think he falls a little bit out of the top 10. I would say he's a teen type of player, and the type of weapon he could be on the outside is fantastic.
And that's the other thing. I like that about you got. That's the one thing about the draft that you look at these guys and say, I would love to have this guy. I'd love to have Verse. I would love to have Darius Robinson. Right. You're saying it's just, then you have to put a thing next to it and say, okay, well, where, right. Where do you want them and all that. And I'm not really, I don't like that mentality only. And even though it is reality, it's just a matter of, hey, I would yes or no to a guy. Yes, I want this guy on my team. You know what I mean? No, I don't want it. And just kind of putting him in that bucket and saying, yeah, I love this guy. We'll love this one too. So there's a bunch of them, like Drazon Newton, the kid from Illinois. Yes. I've heard a lot of really, really good things about him as well. I mean, you look at the draft, and I don't know if it's across the board, but at the quarterback position, you're getting kind of a perfect storm where you've got a couple of 21-year-olds, and you have a couple guys from the COVID years, right? So they're 23, 22. But you haven't seen this many possible starting quarterbacks in the NFL come out in 1 year at one time, which because of that and where we are with Cousins, personally, I think this is the time to get a quarterback. We have Kevin O'Connell, former NFL quarterback, offensive coordinator. I mean, this is the time for the franchise to figure out who's going to carry the torch down the road, and this is the year to do it because you have more options than I think you'll ever have probably in another 10 years maybe. But then turn around, people say, well, there's a lot of good offensive tackles, right? And you're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm looking at these interior defensive alignment and some of these outside linebackers, and there's quite a few of them there too, right? This is a great draft to have second and third round picks. You know, I don't know how many the Jets have, but I'm just saying there's
Zero. The Jets do not have a second round pick.
Zero.
They don't. Yeah, so this is a bad year to not have a second round pick. I mean, I'm and again, that's just me from a 10,000 foot level, right? I mean, we don't have a third round pick, and I'm like, ugh, because I think there's going to be there's just a lot. I mean, we're drafting 11th, and you look at some of the mocks, and depends on what the Patriots do at quarterback, what the Giants do at quarterback, blah blah blah. If that kind of all goes that way, we might be the first team to draft a corner at 11, right? You can get the number one corner in the league at 11, or the pick of the litter at 11. I mean, that doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, because we were discussing even yesterday too. Like, I think even just in general, the top 10, probably 8 or 9 of those picks to be offense too. So you could have your pick of the litter of
Right.
the edge rushers if you want that. We had a draft guy on yesterday, John Vogel, who was mentioning Byron Murphy from Texas as a guy that definitely could be a hot commodity in that middle of the first round. So yeah, they're gonna have the pick of the litter on defense. And
Yeah, he's a big dude, 6'1", 308. Then you hear he's got short arms and all that. You're like, I don't care about his arm length. I just want to see the guy play football. Here's the thing. When it comes to D linemen, the main thing is just the power and leverage that they have. And that was one of the things, you mentioned Jared Verse. I don't know if there's a guy or like Aiden Hutchinson is an example. He's a hustle guy, right? I mean, he plays at an effort level that allows him, I think, to get to the quarterback a lot. The great pass rushers can either bull rush you, hump you, do the hump move, and then maybe turn around and beat you with speed. It's the speed to power that's so deadly. And there's nothing that an offensive lineman fears more than getting freight trained. You beat him around the edge. Okay, you got me. My footwork, this, that, my point, my angle, blah, blah, blah. You just take a guy down the middle and dump him. I mean, that takes the soul out of somebody. My point is that's very hard to teach. If a guy doesn't have that power, and a lot of times the guys that do have the power in the pass rush are the ones that are a little more stiff and they don't move, as fluidly and as well. But they're the ones that have a lot of strength in the pass rush, and especially if you're talking about nose tackles and 3 techniques. I mean, those guys. You got to have strength. You've got to be strong at the point. And so, like, you look at Byron Murphy, 308 pounds. I mean, and the guy's built like a freight train. If you've got that strength and that power, we can teach you the rest of the stuff. But that's something that you definitely need. And you got to have great feet. That's the other thing. I mean, the best D linemen are just 300 pounders with great feet. You know what I mean? The big kid from Texas that ran a 4.2 something or 5.2 something today at 360 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, give him a jump rope and say, "Hey, let me see those feet." And if he can, and I'm serious. If he can move his feet at that weight, oh my goodness, look out!
Well, Speedy, I'm going to give you.
Wait, which one of you is the Giants fan?
Right,
that would be me.
That would be him.
That would be you. How about your nose tackle?
Dexter Lawrence, yeah.
Have you ever watched that man play? Like, just when we were playing the Giants last year, we played him twice. Obviously, as the guy above you will. You're the Giants fan. That's right.
I'm the Giants fan. Yeah,
that's right. I'm sorry. We beat the Jets in between the Giants, so we kind of.
Oh yeah, we had to get you back specially on the show for that because he was so confident that the Jets were going to beat the Vikings.
They got screwed.
And I never got the $500 you bet me.
Yes, I did. I owe you $500. Listen.
I'm saying you still owe me $500. Anyway, I
digress. No. I'll take you out to a nice dinner. Let's go, man.
$500 dinner.
We are coming out to New Jersey to play one of the New York. We play one of the New York teams in New Jersey.
The Giants. I think the Giants this year. I think it's the Giants.
But Dexter. But Dexter, if you ever to watch that man rush and the way he can just destroy people. I mean, he can just embarrass people. And that's what I said offensive linemen are afraid of. That guy, he's one of my favorite people to watch play this game. I wish he was a Viking. Obviously, he's not. But even regardless of the Giants' record, to be able to go out there and watch that guy go about his business, man, that's just awesome.
There were 3 words that really stuck out to me when it came to everything he just said, Speedy. You ready?
$500. Those are the 3 words.
I've got the 3 words, the 3 great words that just came out of Pete Bursick's mouth. You ready? Hump, freight train, and stiff. Perfect.
And that's 4 words.
No, freight train is together, man.
Freight train is 2 different words.
Speedy, it's my words. Shut your mouth. You're rolling. Shut your mouth. Anyways, that's what I got right there.
Pete, what's better? The 3-word, 4-word hype or Errol's Jets hype to Chris Wormley?
I didn't pitch him. I wasn't trying to pitch him. I know he wasn't going to pick the Jets because I know he's not picking the Jets. Why would he want to pick the Jets when he has 4 other teams that are in a better situation right now?
He could have a girlfriend that lives in New Jersey. So of course, when your girlfriend lives in New Jersey, you want to play for a New York team because New York teams play in New Jersey, except for the Bills.
The real New York team, of course.
I'm sorry.
And just so Snug says Earl always pays and stuff like that. No, you're wrong.
I had to do that. I got a good friend who's a Bills fan. And he's like, "Well, we're the only team in New York." I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? Oh, yeah, you're right. You are the only team." Anyway, sorry.
We are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network broadcaster Pete Bursick, a friend of the show. He's been on our show quite a few times. We love him, and he was out at the Combine enjoying himself, getting a chance to, clear his mind after the football season, as he did. But
what a season to forget too for us.
Forget from you guys. I mean, as a Jet fan, we had Dalvin Cook. Oh, the mighty Dalvin Cook! And what did he do for the Jets this year? Absolutely zilch. So thank you to Dalvin Cook.
He should have stayed in Minnesota. We just released Alexander Madison. So we've been burning through running backs up here.
It's interesting.
Some can't stay healthy, but
Justin Jefferson is a name that if you don't know who he is, well, shame on you. He's one of the best offensive players we've seen in a very, very long time. The guy plays hurt this year. He was dealing with some, injuries throughout the season, and it affected his numbers, but he still broke over 1,000 yards. He still had over 6 touchdowns. He's still one of the best offensive talents we've seen in a very long time. You look at this offseason, and you were speaking about Kirk Cousins, and you were thinking you're speaking about maybe bringing in a young quarterback. At number 11, would you draft J.J. McCarthy, another guy that Jim Harbaugh was pitching? He said he's the best quarterback in this class by far. Give him 3 years, and this kid is going to show up every single week and put up the numbers. Do you think J.J. McCarthy is the finishing piece to this offense to match him up with Justin Jefferson?
He could be. I think he could be. And by the way, you don't just because you're drafting a quarterback in the first, if we draft at number 11 now, doesn't mean we can't have Cousins and this guy for a year, right? Doesn't mean you can do that. There's no law against it. Now, you better be making your hay in free agency, which we don't have a ton of dough. To do that. We're not like the Chicago Bears in that respect. It's weird when you hear people talking about, J.J. McCarthy, and it's the upside that's so appealing. I mean, dare I say, I don't know if he's going to be there at 11. He may not even be there at 11. I mean, when this stuff, this, it's like when this stuff starts, and the dominoes start to fall, teams get a little bit, they get worried, they get a little desperate, and they want to jump, they want to jump up there. And I mean, Caleb Williams, I think the majority of the people I spoke with say he's the best, and he's almost, once in a generation, he's that good. Right. Drake May is the next guy that comes up, kind of like a better version of Josh Allen in college, that kind of thing. Jake Daniels' name comes in there, but then it's like J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Penix. It's like those guys are all in there too. And if someone takes a liking to any one of those other three, I mean, Denver need who? I mean, think about the guys that need a quarterback. That's why it's so important for where New England decides to go. If they want to go somewhere, what you guys want it, well, what the Jets what do they want to do?
Falcons,
The Falcons, and talking to all the people dealing with the Bears, they were saying that Fields thing might get done sooner than later. But you go to the draft thinking, oh, they want Fields, he's staying there, and then 2 days later, you're, I don't know, maybe they are. They're going to have a deal done, which I think will help the Vikings out because we one less place for Cousins to go to if that happens. So one less team to raise the price tag if that's what it is. But it's all everybody's 0-0 right now. No one's played any games. No one's and everyone wants to get better. And so let the excitement begin.
Jets are losing already 14-0. Hey, come on. Everybody is throwing them under the bus. You have guys that you have Dawkins throwing him under the bus. He's never played for the Jets, but how the hell does he know what's going on in that locker room? But hey, you know what? Let's do it. If everybody else is throwing him to the, you have ex wide receivers, ex quarterbacks, everybody throws him under the bus. Hey, you know what? I might as well speak up for him. I don't know anything about him. And all I know is I like Quinnen Williams and I hate everybody else on that roster because they all have egos. Okay. Everybody in the NFL has an ego. Every single one of you.
Me, I'm not in the NFL.
I didn't think
you said you. I'm like,
you did have an ego, did you not?
At one time back in the day, but I think I've grown out of it.
Show us those muscles, man. Show us those muscles. No. You don't want to do a couple of those muscles.
No. That's all right.
Flex? No. Hulk Hogan?
Oh, you know what though? I remember being a kid though, and that's the whole thing about bouncing the muscles on your chest. What he used to do on TV. I just watched I also just watched the Ric Flair documentary. He's my athletic hero. I mean, no other human being has been elected to their said Hall of Fame twice. Ric Flair has been inducted in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame twice. Once as a heavyweight champion and once as a tag team member. Right. So there's another phrase for you to remember, along with Freight Train and on the other ones.
Stiff.
Stiff. That one. So
Stiff, speedy like a hump.
He's up to 5 words from really 7 words.
So Ric Flair might be one of the greatest athletes in a generation. He's always and what am I going to say? But anyway, watching those guys growing up, that I got my first concussions trying to be like those guys, and I owe a debt of gratitude to all those guys.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Vikings linebacker and current Vikings Radio Network broadcaster, our friend Pete Bersick. You look tired, Pete. You look tired.
What? I've been I've been in 2 different states. No, I drove.
Oh,
so I'm in Chicago right now. So I just drove down there. Yeah, it's a long day though. I was out with John. I was out at the cigar bar last night with John Randall, old teammate of mine. That guy he's one of the greatest human beings ever. But yeah, we had some fun, and so it's been a long 24 hours.
You sure cigars were the only thing you were smoking? I mean, we have Sean Smith on the show.
Yeah, no.
He likes to smoke other things.
I like stimulant. I deal in stimulants, caffeine, nicotine, stuff like that. Not my thing.
It's okay.
Sean never played for the Vikings, so you don't have to send him any cigars.
He wants to tell us that he wants to forget his time with the Bengals and the Cowboys and all the other teams. He just wants to remember the 2 years, his final 2 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, as he wants to flash the no rings he won over there in Kansas City. And he says Kansas City is him. He's Kansas City. Man, Sean Smith, man, we love him, but he's losing his mind, man. He is losing his mind.
We've also decided now if the Bengals ever do reach a Super Bowl, he's not allowed to root for them. Because they are now Chiefs.
Yeah.
It seems like every single ex-football player or football players that work with us on this show, they want to put down one team and one team only. Speedy?
The New York Jets.
There you go. And who's a Jet fan? The only Jet fan on the show?
Yeah. You.
Yeah.
Well,
You're looking
yeah.
at it. I am the crazy SOB that roots for the New York Jets. Unfortunately, but you want to know something? I'm a realist. I'm a realist, Pete, because
Yeah.
I already know what's going to happen this offseason. You ready to hear this? I am going to give you feedback. I could read the future for the New York Jets. You ready?
Lay it on me. Go
All
on.
right, here we
Go.
go. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers comes back. He pitches Hard Knocks again for the second time in a row. The Jets get picked for Hard Knocks, and
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers pitches Scantling. Yes, did you hear that? Scantling
Marquez,
will be
Marquez Valdez.
yes.
That
he will be a
Scantling?
Jet. Yes. Bakhtiari will be a New York Jet, man. Yes, the old man himself.
The one-legged Bakhtiari.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. The Jets are going to trade Zach Wilson for a 9th-round draft pick. You hear that? A 9th-round draft. It doesn't even exist.
And the
but they're gonna
2020
trade
and
him.
the 2028 draft.
That's the Jets are going to bring in Ryan Tannehill as the backup. Aaron Rodgers gets
Well,
hurt.
you know what though? Hold on now. Tannehill would be fine, right, until you get to the playoffs. Is that kind of
Yeah,
right?
for under 100 yards.
Hey, if
Yeah,
the Jets make the playoffs, it's a miracle. So that's
What
my.
else?
Hold on, it's not over yet.
Okay, I was going to say.
Devontae
keep going.
Adams will hide in one of Aaron Rodgers' luggage bags, and he will be mailed to Aaron Rodgers' New Jersey house. And then all of a sudden, you're going to hear stories coming out that Devontae Adams has completely disappeared and nobody knows where he is. And then all of a sudden, Woody Johnson's going to announce him that he was traded to the Jets. That's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. You can sell it and you can mail it any way you want it. But that,
What do you think the payout would be on a prop bet for all that to happen?
A plus 3,000. None of it is going to happen.
At least.
Good. So when that happens, he'll have your $500.
You see, I think you share a how would I say it? With what you just laid out, you sounded a lot like a Viking fan. You did. I mean, you guys are credited with a Super Bowl win, right? So there are only 20 teams in the National Football League that have actually won the Super Bowl. The Vikings were since 1961. We have not, right? Lost 4 Super Bowls. In my years in playing and coaching in the radio, we've lost 4 NFC championships. So your story sounds a lot like the Viking fans, except ours just has a high. It's just like you get sucked into it. It goes well, and then the rug gets yanked out from under your feet. Right? You're just saying this is going to be brutal from day one.
It's
a 17 game, just beat down. Whereas with us, I think, our Viking fans will say, oh yeah, let's still go. And we'll start out, do great. And all of a sudden, boom, someone gets hurt or boom, something happens. So, but the end result is your heart gets broken. And when you look at it that way, you and I, we share a lot with our teams.
My heart's never going to be broken because I've seen enough bad football every single year.
But see, you're past that though. Your heart's been broken.
I tell the truth.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Your heart's been broken so many times, you get bitter, right?
I'm not bitter. I like to laugh. I
You're-
sit
well-
here and watch the game. I giggle. I eat a lot of ice cream. But man, I eat a lot of ice cream during the football season.
And laughing is also a productive. It's a creative way. Laughing's a creative way of dealing with trauma. And I think you've been traumatized quite a bit.
Yeah, except when he was on his cruise and almost broke a TV.
I'll tell you a quick story. Story, Pete. I was on a cruise. I was hanging out, enjoying myself, and I didn't watch the Jets and Kansas City game. I told myself I'm not watching the game until the fourth quarter. I see that the fourth quarter, it's close. It's 23-20, 4 minutes left. I gotta watch it. I was watching like a comedy show. I was like, guys, we met this lovely old couple. They love to dance. We had a lot of fun. Me and my girl had a lot of fun with these two older people. Rhonda out there, they were fantastic. But anyways, we're there. It's 4 minutes left, and I'm watching the game. I'm sitting there at the bar. I'm not drinking. I don't drink. And I see out of my rear view, yes, my rear view of a television, all right, a call being made by the referees, okay? Passing interference, okay? I watched it in replay 3 times, and I don't even know where the passing interference came from. And the game, obviously, if it didn't count, the Jets get the ball. It's 4th and 5 or 4th and 6.
Right, he would have had to punt. Yeah.
They would have had to punt. The Jets have a minute and 45 seconds left.
More than that, I think it was like 2.5 minutes.
Whatever,
Yeah.
2.5 minutes left. Probably go down and win the game or take it to overtime. And who knows what happens? What happens is Kansas City win the games. Kansas City wins the game. They get the first down, and there she blows. Okay, and what happens after that play? I take a cup that's on the bar, okay? It was a cup. It was a glass cup. There was nothing in it. I just took it, and I threw it across the bar right over the piano player, and it hits the TV. And everybody stops. The music stops, and the piano player tells me, "You effing, you know what? You almost hit me with that." And I said, "Yeah, please do something for me. Throw me off this boat and make me drown. I don't want to watch this team anymore. I'm done. The season's over." And I sit there and I say this because Zach Wilson had his best game of his career against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then right after that game, everything started to happen. The onslaught of craziness starts to happen. So there is my story. It ruined my whole trip. I was sick to my stomach for the last 3 days of that trip. Thank you to the New York Jets. Thank you to Robert Saleh. Thank you to the referees, the horrible referees in the NFL. You're all rigged. Everything is rigged.
And unfortunately, the Vikings got a taste of it the next week with the Jordan Addison should have been pass interference.
Sick.
So.
It's sick.
We had plenty of that.
Agita. Pete, I have agita. Okay. I am sick to my stomach. Every time I speak about the New York Jets, when I hear the Jets, Jets, I really want to say, and I'm just going to say BADS, bads. Okay. It's just,
I do.
It's not even a word, but it's my word.
Well, I think you've definitely taken yourself out of the pot, or at least out of the possibility of you announcing the first round pick. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think Woody even wants to see my face. I mean, would you want? That's probably why they don't invite me to any of these, off-season activities. Is they're like, oh, this guy's gonna kill somebody.
Well, you obviously care if you're willing to throw a glass halfway across the ocean and hit a TV.
I care about this team. There's no doubt I care about this team.
If you'd had your Jets jersey on, people would have been like, "Oh, okay, it's all right. He's a Jets fan."
I don't even go to the Pete. I don't even. First of all, I won't go to a Jet game. I haven't been to a Jet game in 2 years. Okay, 2 years I haven't been to a Jet game because the last time I was at a Jet game, I remember this. It was very clear to me at this game, and I'm going to mention, I'm not going to tell you what team it was. One of the fans said something to me after the game and then threw something at me, and I turned around and almost killed the guy. Okay.
Wait, you were in Philly watching the Jets?
No, it wasn't the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sorry.
It wasn't them. I'm not mentioning the team, but it was a fan, and I turned around and I almost pounced on him, and I almost got arrested. So I stay away from MetLife Stadium. I stay far away from it, and I'm probably better off. Okay?
Yeah, you keep telling yourself you don't care about the Jets. You just keep telling yourself that. Throwing
listen, if you're there-
glasses, attacking fans. I mean,
I'm a fan. I'm attacking fans. I'm a fan. I'm wearing a Jet jersey. And by the way, I will never wear a Jets jersey at a Jets game again. I'll pretend I'm not even a Jets fan when I go to the game because I just get myself into trouble when I go to those games. I don't drink either. I don't drink.
I was going to say I could if it's the Vikings, I'd get you a ticket and get you a Viking jersey, and that
That's
way.
not going to happen, my friend.
Well, no. I'm just saying. Think about it though. You wear the purple. If the Jets win, you're happy, right? The Jets win, you're happy. If the Vikings win, at least you look like you're wearing the right colors, and you can, kind of be happy that you get a free ticket from the guy up in the booth calling the game.
I'll tell you what, Pete. You want to
think about it. Just don't answer. Just think about it. Just think.
If you want to get me a job with the Vikings, and you want me to be play-by-play or broadcaster for your team, I'll be happy to do that.
You sound like you would be best, I think, post game. That would be
sold. I'm sold. Okay,
yes,
I'll host it.
You can do fan line after the game,
and we'll have Speedy on the other side. He could be, twirling something. I don't know.
Hopefully, this is better than the Dalvin Cook in the trunk idea we came up with last time.
I wouldn't listen. I'm sure you're an idiot. Hey, listen, I'm getting a stiffy right now.
That was supposed to be if the Vikings and Jets played the Super Bowl.
I should get a Viking jersey.
I'm just waiting for the whatever's behind you to fall down and see the bars from the jail cell that you're in. Right?
Get me out of here!
Exactly.
That's reserved exclusively for our friend Bashaud Breeland.
Oh man, I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see myself doing that. But hey, listen, I could do a post game show. I can make everybody laugh. And the funny thing is,
you'd be perfect.
I'd be perfect because even though I'm not a Viking fan, I would make it seem like I'm such a Viking fan. And then after the whole, especially when they play the Jets and the Jets lose, I just rip apart the whole stage of it.
Just hate on Aaron Rodgers. We'll fit right in with
throwing my chair.
It only happens once every 7 years.
There you go. So I think I'm good. I mean, pitch it over there to the Vikings. You want to bring in a New York guy to do the post game show, and he'll do.
He's a New York guy that likes a New Jersey team, but he's going to be in Minnesota.
There he goes.
I like it.
Great pitch. Great.
I like that.
I'm a New Jersey fan. I'm a New Jersey Jets fan. There you go. Hey, listen. To me, when you're broadcasting and you're doing radio now, no matter how much you love your teams, you got to be honest. And now that I've done this for such a long time, I'm not even though I'm a Jets fan and everybody knows me as a Jet fan. I don't root for anybody. I want the Jets to win, obviously. Yeah. I want to see them win, but I don't care if they win or lose. Honestly, I really don't. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I think it's funny. I think watching the Jets, it brings out, it makes me pissed off for the first 5 weeks. And then after that, I already know what's going to happen. So I just laugh. I watch the game. I have Pete, I have like 19 guys. We're in like a Jets text message pool.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them texts me through the game that I put myself in airplane mode because I don't want to hear it anymore. They're all screaming at me, telling me I'm an ass, I'm an idiot. How am I a Jet fan? I can't stand this team. They're a bunch of losers. They suck. I don't want to be the fan of this team anymore. I might as well bury myself 6 feet under. Okay. So this is what I hear during the show. After the game, I'm like, you know what? I'm just laughing. I should take it and post every single text message up on my Twitter. It's the funniest thing. It's it's a comedy show, you know?
And you could do that. You could do that.
I'll tell you what, man.
Yeah. We got to move you out to Minnesota.
There you go. Yeah,
you love the winners are great. You'll love the winners.
I love the winner.
No. I used to say that too. Well, I grew up in Chicago. Oh yeah, I love the cold. Cold's great. No, not this kind of cold. No.
Speedy, please tell him Tell
Oh.
Mr. Bursick what I like.
I will say those are the different level of Minnesota cold. So
No, but tell him what I do in 20-degree
No,
weather.
he does wear short sleeves and shorts.
20. How about minus 26?
Yeah, that's a whole other extreme.
Listen, I'll probably wear a long sleeve T-shirt and shorts. I'm telling you right now, I love the cold. I love the cold. So me being in Minnesota, I played hockey in Minnesota. I played hockey for many, many years. So I know what Minnesota is, and there's a lot of snow. And it is freezing over there. The temperature is definitely low.
Yeah. This winter hasn't been that bad though, so it's better.
No, that's good. I mean, maybe that's why you're growing more hair. You know?
No, I'm just glad I still have it.
Yeah, you
That's
do
all.
look good, man. You do look good.
I
You
appreciate
really
that.
do. I
Thank
think it's great what you do, right? And by the way, I listen to Minnesota Vikings play-by-play from you guys and your partner, and I love
Paul?
what you guys
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Thank you.
I
We have
watch- I
fun.
listen-
We don't take ourselves too seriously. We have fun, and thank you for that. It's
I do. I listen to you guys. I'm a big fan of you
Thank you.
ever since you've been on the show, and I definitely I support what you do, even though I'm not a Viking fan, and I love what you do because I think you have a very interesting personality. You were in the NFL. You understand the game very, very well, and the way you kind of bring it to life. If you're a Vikings fan, it's must listen to. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and it's everybody wants to know why, right? And that's kind of the thing. It's why is this? Why is that? Why is JJ so good? Why is this not happening? Why why didn't we run the ball here? Why? And I know, and I. That's what it kind of like what I want to do is just I don't want to say educate because that kind of seems like a what I mean, it has a let me educate you to it, and that's not the case. It's just having been a coach, I know what it's like to drive home after a game and listen to the radio and have fans call in and say, why didn't they have this guy in at running back on third down? Right? They're idiots. They're stupid. And I want you sitting there screaming at the radio saying, we had him in on third downs all week at practice, but he couldn't handle the protections. He had no idea what the F he was doing. We couldn't put him in. I mean, it's like, it's not our fault. It's not like we didn't think of it and try it. It just didn't work. And we'd rather have it not work in practice than not work on a Sunday afternoon. Right. So I think that and people, the difference between the great teams and the difference in teams is so small. I mean, these teams are all so close. They all have a salary cap. They all have really, really good athletes. And some days it's just not your days. And then sometimes when you lose, I think there's more people that want answers when you lose, and they want to know, are we in trouble here? Or, is there something really? Sometimes you're like, yeah, if we don't fix this, this, and this, there's going to be somewhere. Sometimes the ball just bounces the wrong way. But this has been, this will be 29 years of this. I mean, it's been, I can't remember all the plays, right? I can't remember all the games. But I'm very, very lucky that I'm doing what I'm doing. I mean, it's not work. I'm at the combine. It's not work.
No.
I mean, I'm sitting here, just having a great time. You know what? Pete Prisco?
Yes, I know who Pete is.
CBS Sports.
I would love to see you and he just talk, or just sit there at a dinner somewhere and just listen to the two of you go back and forth. It would be 2 hours of entertainment. I mean, I love Pete. He's a great,
I'll hook it up.
Let's
go to dinner.
old
I'll
school.
Take him out to dinner. I owe you a $500 dinner. I might as well take Pete with me.
Yeah, that's true. At 10%, interest, compounding continuously. So
He'll do that after he wins his parlay for Devontae Adams being hidden in the suitcase.
Hey, listen, there's a possibility. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he likes to go into that darkness.
I don't know, that David Bakhtiari one in the suitcase or whatever it was. That one may not come true.
David Bakhtiari come out of a suitcase.
Well, according to Pete, he only plays with one leg anyway, so he left the move.
The best part is he'd be carrying a suitcase and all his hair would be hanging out because he closed it on his hair, right? And it'd all be hanging out the back.
Maybe he'll bring some of the beer he loves to chug at the Bucks games.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what linemen do now. They chug beers at other games. They go to other games and just chug beers in the stands, right?
Yeah, the Titans players did that with Nashville when they went to the Stanley Cup, and I think that was kind of when the trend started big time, and then now everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
That's what we love, and that's what I love about radio, and that's why when the national stage starts to ring our phone number and let us do what we do, and that's entertain people. We're a very unique show. We're not going to sit here and
thank
lie to you.
God.
Yeah,
Thank God you guys are unique.
Yes, we have to be. I mean, we have to make people laugh. I'm not going to sit here. I laugh at everything.
You're right. And you're right about this. So I grew up in Chicago, and I grew up watching the Cubs games every day. They're on WGN. This is back, when before cable and everything, you only had 4 stations, but you had Harry Carey, Steve Stone, Jimmy Pearsall. It's like to give you an idea, there was, and you can look this up on YouTube, but Harry Carey one day made a comment about how so many guys are breaking bats, right? A bunch of guys had broken bats, and Steve Stone's like, well, Harry, it's just hard to find a good piece of ash these days, right? And the microphones cut out for like 5 minutes because the two of them were on the ground, laughing so hard. But that's, it's the Disco Inferno with the White Sox in the 70s or the 80s, and that's what sports is meant to be. It's supposed to be fun. You got to have some fun with it, because if you take it too seriously, it's just
that's
a game.
Problem. But Pete, that's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of these broadcasters. It's all about who's following you on social media. It's what's this and what's that, what's hot. Listen,
and I get but I get a level of professionalism, right? I mean, that's kind of. But I mean, for example, like Tony Romo was catching a lot of heat for not knowing this and not So that's. I get that you want to be professional. The guys out there have earned the right to have their names pronounced correctly, and things like that. But at times you just got to point out the absolute folly. You know what I mean? It just sometimes it's just, you can't make it up. Like we had a game in Kansas City, I think it was. Does Kansas City have a mascot? They have a mascot, right?
Yeah, they got that wolf thing.
Yeah. And some fan ran on the field, and the mascot, they tackled him, and then the mascot jumped in and started, and PA and I had when stuff like it was just, you got to have fun with it. You can't take it all seriously and all that, whatever. But because you'll be miserable, like a Jets fan.
Yeah. Thank
you. A particular Jets fan. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like the Jets. I mean,
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. Why wouldn't I?
You don't like the Jets. Stop lying to the fans. You don't like the Jets.
It's his favorite.
I've liked the Jets since they had Brian Cox.
Hey, it's his favorite team that has green as its primary color.
Yeah, there you go. See?
I think Brian was better on the Patriots than he was as Jets.
Maybe.
Anyways, Pete, we love you, man.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.
We'll get you on before the season starts, as always, and maybe pitch us to the post game. Pitch it. Why don't you just say, listen, we got this New Yorker guy, we got these guys. They're stand out.
I'm not. You know what? Let's not pitch it. Let's just get you on a plane out to Minnesota
anytime. You tell me when you want me to fly out there.
We'll get you the credential.
All right.
And just before the show starts, I know the guys that host it.
Awesome.
One of the two of them, we just kneecap them, right? We just kneecap them. And they're like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" Boom, there you are.
I'm not Tanya Harding.
What are the odds that a guy was going to fall down 6 flights of steps the day that we have, you in here, right? And then it's done. And then it's done, because people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't care if they lose. This guy's hilarious after the game. I love this guy. I hope they lose the rest of the year." There you go. And then you can live in the cold, like you say you want to.
I don't mind it. I don't want to do the Tanya Harding thing, but yeah, whatever you want me to do, man.
There's no gold medals involved here. It's none of that. This is
it's
just
a golden mic, man. You give me the golden mic.
People meet with accidents all the time. It happens.
So let's plan it. Speedy will be my aggressor. I mean, he doesn't look like the killer type. I mean, he'd be perfect. Look at him. I mean,
no one would suspect that guy. Woo!
So the last 2 times we've come on the show, we now have Dalvin Cook in a trunk. We have Devontae Adams in a suitcase. David Bakhtiari in whatever with his hair, and now this.
And now this. All right. Well, here's the thing. We'll work on it. We'll massage it, and then we'll revisit in the preseason. How's that?
There
sound?
you go. And Speedy, keep your stiffy in your pants, okay?
No. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about me with massages. I'm not Deshaun Watson.
No, there we go. There we go.
Well,
all right, gentlemen. You guys have a good night.
You too, Pete. We love you, man. Keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
We'll talk to you
Love
soon.
you guys too, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Pete Bursick. We have a lot of fun with Pete. Pete's awesome. He really is. And he's pretty laid back and cool. And it's great when you get a guy like that actually understands personality and realizes that we just like to have fun. I mean, as soon as we went too far, he was like, see you later. But let's go to a quick sports minute. When we come back, we'll still finish up our show as we got to get into the Kevin Durant thing here on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
What is up, everybody? As promised, I am back for another update on the show for the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute. I am your man, Tommy Scoops, to give you guys all the rundown. And right now, the current scoop in the NFL. The league has apparently proposed a rule change to change the intentional grounding, which had 59 calls last season, and the league hopes to have that call dropped within the next season. In other NFL news, Geno Smith will be confirmed returning to the Seahawks. After speculation of his contract being returned, he is confirmed to be returning to the Seahawks next season. Switching over into the NBA, LeBron James needs 40 points tonight to have 40,000 points within the all-time scoring list. Like I mentioned, LeBron James is only 40 points away as they take on the Wizards tonight at 10:30. Other NBA news, as mentioned by our handicap Let's Parlay guy, Derek, Tyler Hero will be out tonight against the Nuggets. He will be missing the finals rematch against the Nuggets with a knee injury that will make him sidelined for the day's game. And other, Spurs agreed to buy out the veteran forward Marcus Morris, who actually just got dealt in a three-team trade, making him a free agent to join any contender that he wishes to please. Now, going into Scoops to Scores, for right now, currently, ongoing games right now, we see the Thunder and the Spurs taking on each other right now. The Spurs have a 75 lead, and the Rockets and Suns are taking on each other right now. The Suns are leading 55-41, and as I'm going to shift over into some of the NHL scores going on right now, the Predators and Wild are taking each other on right now, with the Predators currently leading 3-1. The Jets and Stars. Currently, the Stars have a 3-1 lead, with the Avalanche currently also holding a 1-0 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks. That is currently all the time that I have right now for you guys. I'm going to send it back to the boys for the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
(631) 672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me, Speedy Petey, and Sean Smith, every single Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in to our local listings of our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. It's been a great show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Derek for joining us at Let's Parlay. Yeah, it was great. And then thank you to Chris Wormley for joining us from the Carolina Panthers. And thank you to our friend, Vikings or ex-Vikings linebacker and current Vikings radio network broadcaster, Pete Bursick, a friend of the show. We love him. He's fantastic, as he always gives us good content, as he always does. But I want to invite in Fish, okay? Because Fish has been waiting, and he's been working so hard. Our executive producer, he's over there. He's upstate New York, and he's got his own opinions. And I do want to get into this KD story, and I want to know your opinion, Fish. So here we go. Kevin Durant spoke out about his decision to join the Nets over the Knicks in the summer of 2019. telling Basketball Network that the Knicks weren't cool then, but are cool now. He also mentioned that he always liked the Knicks brand, but didn't like the state of the team at the time. He also mentioned that his family and agent wanted him to join the Knicks at that time. The Knicks were reportedly not interested in Kyrie Irving, who Durant badly wanted to play with at the time. Durant also made comments a few months ago that he could see Jalen Brunson as an MVP candidate and a future Hall of Famer. Durant still says he could see himself playing for the Knicks in the future under their current regime. That's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I do not want LeBron James. I do not want Kevin Durant. I don't want any of these old guys coming to my team and hurting the good juju right now that we have with Jalen Brunson and even Julius Randle and DiVincenzo and OG Anunoby. I do not want to see the name Durant on a jersey or LeBron James. The only time I want to see that on a jersey is if a fan is a LeBron James or Durant fan and wants to pray and wish that they were on the Knicks. So this story, to me, is not a story. And I'm going to tell you why. Because everybody knew that his family, his agent, wanted him to play for the Knicks. He went to Brooklyn because Brooklyn was the only idiot organization that would sign and bring Kyrie Irving over there after he came out and said the earth is flat, okay? His brain is flat. As we all heard Stephen Curry coming out a couple of years ago and said that, I don't know, there is no moon and nobody's ever jumped. Well, he said there was a moon. Nobody ever stepped foot on the moon. That's not true. What did he say? He said that it was...
We never traveled to space.
We never traveled to space. And he also said that when they showed video that they were on the moon, it was like
a hoax.
Not a hoax. He said they were in, LA working on a movie set or something like that.
People always say that about that one video of the flag waving because they go, oh, there's no air in space. It can't wave. That proves it was in a studio. There's no wind in a studio either. What are you talking about? Like these people. I'm sorry. I just had to say something.
No, you're absolutely right. And the whole Kevin Durant thing is just, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Now, I would have loved to see Kevin Durant decide and pick the New York Knicks over the Brooklyn Nets. But honestly, thank God he didn't. Because if he did, they would be in a state of flux, which the Knicks have been for many, many years. And it wasn't because the superstars wanted to come play here. It was because the superstars didn't want to play here and they couldn't stand James Dolan and ownership. Now they bring in Leon Rose, and everybody was interested to see what Leon Rose was going to do as an agent. And it didn't work out for the New York Mets. But hey, it worked out for the New York Knicks because the Mets brought in an agent. It didn't work out there. And the Knicks did the same thing. And Leon Rose brings in Worldwide Wes. He brings in a bunch of executives to work with him. And this team has completely changed over the last 4 years. It's been absolutely amazing. And everything that he has done, I'm going to say this, besides the Fournier move and extending Randall, which the extension with Randall looks like it's going to work. And maybe Julius Randle gets healthy and actually puts up a pretty good playoff run, something he hasn't done since he's come to the Knicks, as he's become the bricklayer of the New York Knicks. But nevertheless, he brought in OG Anunoby. He traded RJ Barrett. They bring in Bogdanovich and Alec Burks again, and a guy in a Quentin Grimes that obviously has not worked out over the last few years, ever since he was drafted in the first round. So, there's a lot of questions so far on what the Knicks could do as far as when they make the playoffs, what seed they're going to go in, and if they can compete against the Celtics, and if they can compete against the Milwaukee Bucks with Damian Lillard and the Greek Freak. So, but I will say this about Kevin Durant. I don't want him on anywhere close to this team. And the fact that he wants to come here is a joke. The fact that LeBron James came out and said that he would see himself playing in Madison Square Garden is a joke. If you really saw yourself wanting to play here and you wanted to wear the Knicks colors and you wanted to play in Madison Square Garden, you should have done that when you were in your prime. Now you're at the tail end of your career. LeBron's 39. Kevin Durant is 36, going to be 37. I do not want to see them in a New York Knicks jersey. They have been nothing but hindrances for their organizations. LeBron James, with his thoughts to what's going on in the world and his political views. And I'm not saying LeBron isn't a great player. I'm not saying Kevin Durant isn't a great player. But if you're a New York Knicks fan right now, do you really want to see Kevin Durant, who has 7 different Twitter accounts or X accounts, and LeBron James, who is, I believe, not selfish on a basketball court, but selfish off a basketball court, and says the things that he says and throws, I guess, throws people these stories and his political views where I don't care. I'm watching basketball. I don't care what your political views are. And the fact that he does it and the fact that he says things, if he comes to New York, it's only going to cause scrutiny and craziness here. And that's not what I want to see with LeBron James. And that's not what I want to see if Kevin Durant comes back here to New York.
It's interesting because Leon Rose has kind of been the opposite trajectory of what I was thinking when I first brought him in, because as an agent, you're thinking, oh, he has all these relationships with these players. They're going to try to build up New York again to be a hot spot for the players to want to go. So it's interesting because at the time, I actually was pushing for, I didn't want Kyrie Irving, but I was pushing for Kevin Durant at the time. And then they were going to trade for Damian Lillard because Damian Lillard was also available around that time too. And the Knicks were in talks for him as well.
Do you remember who I wanted?
I don't at the time. I know you wanted Damian Lillard a little bit. I don't remember.
Do you remember who I wanted when he became available? And it wasn't Kyrie Irving, but there was another player.
Oh, Devin Booker, I remember a little bit.
No. At the time, Devin Booker wasn't.
I don't remember at that time.
Jimmy Butler.
It was Jimmy Butler. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting though, because the way Leon Rose has built this team now is exactly the opposite. And he's building it through the draft. He's building it through good trades like we saw at this trade deadline. And he's building it through good contracts. And you look at what Kevin Durant, once they didn't sign with the Knicks at the time, the Knicks built up a bunch of power forwards. They built up good young power forwards. They signed Randall, so like you were saying, what was a bargain contract at the time for what he ended up playing as. Now he still has to prove it in the playoffs, fine. But
they also extended his contract.
Correct. And that kind of thinking goes the opposite methods of what LeBron has done with the Lakers and what Kevin Durant's done with his last 2 teams too, because the Nets and Suns are literally doing the same thing. The Nets, they got the big 3, but they got no depth after that. They're signing Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan at veteran minimums, and the Suns are doing the same thing. They had to trade away DeAndre Ayton just to make sure that all these 3 guys could cut over there with their current big 3. So I don't want that kind of approach going to the Knicks. Doesn't work in today's NBA anymore, especially with a lot of these young superstars kind of changing the mold of it now. It's one superstar, like one other star, and then other good players, good depth after that. And the Knicks could be building something with that.
Yeah, Speedy, you were talking about it yesterday too, that this big 3 model just isn't working anymore in basketball. And I think the 2019 move was the biggest, failure of that big 3 model. I mean, I was devastated personally. Not because Kyrie didn't come, but because Kevin Durant didn't come. Now, conservatively, he's probably one of the 25 greatest players of all time. He's got 1 championship. Steph probably part of that, but he still has that title, and his stats are up there with anybody. Shooter, maybe the best big man shooter there ever was. If in a magical world where we don't have to worry about salary caps and trade exceptions, if we could just switch him out for Julius Randle, who does not play well in the playoffs and is
not a chance in hell. I don't even want him. I'll keep Julius Randle.
That would be the only way, though.
No
you
way.
don't want to ruin a good thing.
I
mean, that's a magical world, that's the only way I could see it, but you wouldn't be able to get that. It would be like Carmelo all over again. You'd have to trade the house for him. You'd get rid of that depth. You'd have to trade your future picks and mortgage the future just to get a guy who it's all about him and his 6 alter egos on Instagram and his 7 on Twitter. I mean, those stories about him are wild. He's great. But I think as he gets older, and you heard him talking about the Knicks brand. I care more about the team and
that's a smack in the face.
Brand,
him saying that he didn't really want to come here because the Knicks brand was just in the gutter. Listen, you could have changed that. You could have been the guy. You know who changed that? A guy that took less, okay? A guy that wanted to play here in Jalen Brunson. Finally, the Knicks found a guy that wanted to come here. He wasn't a superstar, but he proved that he could play for the Dallas Mavericks, take the Dallas Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals and lose. And to me, was everything to what the Knicks needed to do. And as far as Julius Randle finally took a step back. Why would I want to move Julius Randle for a guy like Kevin Durant? If Kevin Durant came here, he believes he's the number 1 and Jalen Brunson's the number 2. I love that Julius Randle finally figured out, hey, you know what? I'm really the number 2. This is Jalen Brunson's team. I'm the number 2 guy. And OG Anunoby finally gave him that wing defender the Knicks have been looking for the last 10 years. They've been craving for this defensive player. They haven't had it in a very long time, since the 90s, and it's changed everything for the Knicks. It's given them confidence. Why would you bring in a loudmouth crybaby that sits there with a towel over his head half the time and wants to play more minutes than the youngsters? The guy, to me, has been nothing but a hindrance. He's been I honestly, if you look at it, an ant farm, okay? And this is a truth. There's a queen, okay? There's a queen. And what do all the other ants do? They protect the queen, right? It's so funny that everywhere this man has gone, Kevin Durant has gone, everywhere he's gone, the ants around him, all his teammates, they all turn on him. Every single time. Look at what happened with Draymond Green. Draymond Green was the reason why he was brought over there to Golden State. They were good friends. As soon as he leaves, Draymond Green attacks him. As soon as he leaves, Klay Thompson attacks him. As soon as he leaves, Steph Curry doesn't say anything bad about him, says, you know what, I think our team is in a better state now the way it is, okay? Every single one of them. Then you go over there to Brooklyn, and then Kyrie Irving, his own personality. He wanted to play with Kyrie Irving, okay? And then James Harden, his best buddy, comes over there with the Rockets. And what happens over there? Turmoil. Kyrie Irving wants out. James Harden wants out. First goes James, then goes Kyrie. They all ditch Kevin Durant. It didn't work out there. And now look, and it happened in OKC too, with the whole Russell Westbrook thing. He wanted to leave Russell Westbrook because he wasn't getting along, and Russell Westbrook thought he was the best player on the team, and it just didn't work out over there. And then look at what's going on right now over there with Phoenix. You have Devin Booker, you have Bradley Beal. And I told everybody, when they brought Kevin Durant over there, and I said it, Devin Booker and the players that they had over there, do not make a move for Bradley Beal in the offseason. Do not do that, because all 3 players are going to demand the ball. They're all the same players. Okay. And what happens? Bradley Beal comes. Bradley Beal was hurt, had like the first 20 games of the season. This is something that I think this is a hex that grows on the Kevin Durant tree. Every single player that they trade for that he gets along with gets hurt, and it never works out over there. He comes back, and look at this roster. Yes, they're 6 right now. With this kind of roster, with the talent that they have over there, they should be top 3, and they're not. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they connect against the LA Lakers and they're the 10 and the 7, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James and Anthony Davis knocks them out in the playing games.
Yeah, they got no size either. Yeah,
they don't have a chance. Honestly, I don't. I don't think they're any good. And I'm not saying that they don't have talent there. I don't think they have any good bench players. They traded Mikal Bridges, big mistake. They traded Johnson, big mistake. They traded away all those draft picks for Kevin Durant, big mistake. And by the way, the Nets are going to love those draft picks, because I'm going to tell you why. Because in about 2 years, Kevin Durant's going to be gone, Bradley Beal will be gone, and Devin Booker will be gone, and they're going to be rebuilding. And you know where those draft picks are going? Because they're not protected. They're going to the Brooklyn Nets.
Unless the Nets make another dumb trade too.
So in the end, even though they gave it all up to get James Harden, the Nets are going to win in that trade. Finally, Mr. Marks did something right from all the stupidity from him and Mr. King. So congratulations to the Brooklyn Nets on getting a couple lottery picks from the Phoenix Suns. So there's my spiel with the whole Kevin Durant thing. Stay away from Kevin Durant. Stay away from LeBron James. Do not bring Bronny Jr. to the New York Knicks.
Please, no.
Do not do that.
I mean,
it would be a big mistake.
I mean, didn't the kid almost die on the court at the beginning of the season? Are we really talking about him being drafted this year? I mean, I understand the whole thing with LeBron going after people is ridiculous, because, I mean, he should understand that considering his position in the world. But, with the Durant thing, man, it's just tough because he's so great. I mean, his stats are crazy. I mean, you realize he's 7 feet tall and he shoots 42% from 3 this year. He's got 28 points a game. He's got, 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Like, he's still putting up numbers that just make you go, he's still one of the best players in the world. Yet, outside of the one championship when he wasn't the leader on the team, has he ever led anyone really? And I think we didn't really. I mean, we talked last week.
think
You know,
he
we talked
has.
about Bart
I
Scott calling
disagree.
people out.
I disagree.
Is he
I
that
think
good
he
of a
has.
leader?
I think he is a good leader because if you heard Kyrie Irving speak about him, and Kyrie Irving doesn't listen to anybody, okay? Kyrie Irving said, I realized what a leader was when I got a chance to watch LeBron James lead us to win a championship. That's the first time I've ever heard Kyrie Irving compliment anybody, okay? And Kyrie Irving's played with some good players. So, and it didn't work with the Celtics. So I disagree. But here's the thing. LeBron is putting up the numbers. But when LeBron was putting up these numbers and he was in the prime of his career, he can change the game. He could take over a game. I don't think he could do that anymore. I think he's going to get too tired. He was a great defender, too. He can't defend some of the top offensive players in the league. He used to shut down Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was the MVP of the league. He shut him down. He shut him down in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I don't think he could do that anymore. So I think LeBron James is a sensational player. I think he's the second greatest player to ever play the game, right behind Michael Jordan. You heard it from me. By the time he's done, yes, Tyler Harrison, he is the second best player to ever play the game. But to me, he's played in a time where a lot of pressure is left on him. And everybody's going to compare him to Steph Curry. Everybody's going to compare him to Kevin Durant. Everybody's going to compare him to all the greats that played in the game. Why? Because he's going to have all the records. And he was always declared the king coming to the NBA. And when you're compared and contrasted or even looked at to Michael Jordan, you're always going, or Kobe Bryant or anybody that was comparable to you, you're always going to be looked at as the odd man out.
And that's probably the hype for Kevin Durant in the same way, because Kevin Durant is trying to beat LeBron and he's not. And he says, oh, I should be in the GOAT conversation.
Yep.
Well, not the case with you not being able to will your team the way LeBron has.
I've heard Durant talk about how he thinks it's established knowledge that he's better than LeBron because
He's on
he
drugs.
beat him in the championship with Golden State. You know, like, and he was like,
he did?
Couldn't believe it. Well, you know, he felt he outplayed him. And you can make that argument that he did in that series. But again, the most loaded team of all time, arguably,
He had four
versus that,
All-Stars on a team. Who did LeBron have?
of all time. I mean, the year before they had the 73 wins and they lost to LeBron when everyone got, that was crazy. So Durant is delusional, if he thinks that he's better than LeBron. But here's the reason why. I'll give you one last thing.
Yeah,
That is my fault because I meant to mention it earlier when you were saying LeBron isn't able to do it anymore. I don't think he do it anymore every night in lead teams. But did you see what he did last night? He outscored the Clippers. It says 19-16 in the fourth quarter, leading to a 21-point comeback. So when he feels like it, or if he has enough energy from his 5 cryogenic red wine baths, massaging the lactic acid out of his calfie muscles,
Or his
exactly, he could still
His
do
third
it
leg.
with the best of them.
LeBron is great because he has a third leg. Just so.
Stole it from David Bakhtiari.
I don't know. Maybe that's hanging out of the bag.
Now we know where it went.
Speedy, you know all about hanging out of a bag.
I don't steal people's legs.
Well, you steal other things.
No, I don't. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I'm sorry, that was it.
He's thinking.
I didn't know I wouldn't say anything. Yeah, I mean, look, what more can you say? He's a great player. LeBron's the second greatest player of all time on most of the lists. He's got the most points of all time. Scoops told us earlier tonight he's 40 away from 40,000. I mean, whoever thought these numbers are going to be hit? He's 39. He still gets up and dunks. He maybe plays a little bit more like Karl Malone now than a point guard like he did when he was younger. I mean, but it's 21 years, 20 All-Star games. Holy crap, man.
I think he still has the ability, athletic ability to go up and down the court. I mean,
yeah.
Karl Malone couldn't do anything. I mean, they called him the mailman. Why do you think they called him the mailman?
Well, he was mailing it in a lot at the end.
Pretty
Especially
much
on that
was.
Lakers team at the end. Remember that money grab?
Yeah. I mean, he was never fast. Even Karl Malone in the prime of his career, he was never fast. LeBron James still could go up and down the court. I disagree. I think you know what he reminds me with right now? If there's somebody that reminds out of all the players, now he reminds me the most in the prime of his career is Magic Johnson. He's a better Magic Johnson, but I think right now, if you were to compare him to a player in the past at his ability still, I would look at him as a young, he's as fast and as good as a young Charles Barkley. Okay. That's what I think he is. Charles Barkley, when he was playing for the 76ers and when he won the MVP with the Suns, that's how he plays now. Because Charles still goes up and down. Charles at that time was going up and down the court and he was jamming the ball and dominated. He dominated the paint. You couldn't stop him. And he put up the numbers. So I would think at the prime of Charles Barkley's career, I still think LeBron is playing at that level. I don't think you can win with LeBron again unless he's playing on a team that has two superstars or one superstar that says, okay, LeBron, you're the number 2 now. I'm the number 1. And I don't think LeBron James could hold that or take that in and say, okay, you're the guy. I'm gonna dish you the ball. I still to this day, he has Anthony Davis on his team, and Anthony Davis is the other guy. He isn't the guy. He's the other guy, no matter what. And Anthony Davis is in the prime of his career. So and that's the problem right now. That's what's going on with the Lakers.
Yeah.
I think LeBron has to step back and he needs to realize he's not the guy anymore. Even though he's putting up the numbers, you're not going to win like that. And if he's being greedy and he wants $60 million a year, how the hell are you going to bring in a Donovan Mitchell? How the hell are you going to bring in a Zach LaVine, a guy that's going to help you offensively, that you're having problems competing against these other teams because they're putting up more numbers than your 2 best guys?
That's assuming
No,
even
there's
LeBron
there's
even
no
wants
way.
it. You don't
Yeah,
even know
look,
if LeBron. Get this.
No, I'm sorry about that, Speedy. Listen, the $60 million thing is the hugest problem with all of this. If next year he's due 54 on the player option and he wants a deal for 60, they can't compete more than the 10 seed right now. And he's going to eat up another 15 million of the salary cap because his number's not 54 this year. It's in the 40s. So how are they supposed to, add guys to be competitive? I mean, there are only so many Pat Bevs out there for
maybe they get Chris Paul at the end of
minimum
his
guys,
They'll all be reunited. They'll have to bring back Carmelo Anthony for one more year if that's the case.
That's another guy.
And all 3 of them can finally
Yeah.
play together.
I don't know if anybody's checked out
They can drink wine.
Anthony's podcast, by the way. It's an interesting podcast, but Carmelo Anthony many, many times came out and said that he could still play in the NBA. He can still compete in the NBA. I think Carmelo is on drugs. I don't believe he could do that. I think he'll one leg or his fingers will fall off before he plays in the NBA again. And his son's going to be a sensational player. If there's a son that's going to come out of high school and play college ball and become a star in the NBA, I think his son is definitely that type of player. He could shoot. He can do all the things that Carmelo Anthony could do. I think he's a more elusive young Carmelo Anthony. And I think he's not as tall as Carmelo. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". But I think he has the ability. He actually passes the ball, something that Carmelo never liked to do. So this kid could pass the ball. He can shoot. He can do all those things, and he has the game to do it. I think he's going to be a great player. I really do. And he's right now here in Long Island. He's working. I think he's playing for Cold Spring Harbor, and I've heard a lot of good things about his son. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I think it's Kenyon or something like that. But I forget his name. But what is it? You got his name? It's Kenyon. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing the kid, go and play college ball. And I'm hearing Syracuse could be going to Syracuse. So there are the teams looking at him. I know Duke's looking at him. I know North Carolina has been recruiting him. So we'll see where he goes. He hasn't decided, and Carmelo already came out and said that he doesn't care where he goes. He just wants his son to be happy and he wants his son to play ball. So, and keep his grades up. That's something else that he has come out and said.
Syracuse would need that to spark a new program with a new coach.
Yeah. And again, I think when you look at the NBA and the way the NBA is starting to move towards those big, tall, athletic players, I think the NBA is missing what it really has been over the last couple of years. And I think if the NBA could bring back that old style of NBA, stop with these flagrant fouls, stop with this baby NBA play calling defenses where everybody, I mean, you're pretty much saying, Olay, go ahead, score. You know, that's what the NBA wants. They want to see high scoring games where you're scoring 200 or more points. I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see back to the old NBA where it's been aggressive and every team hates each other. Every single team can't stand one another. Everybody's hanging out. Everybody after games. Everybody's going to bars, strip clubs, waving their guns in the air. I'm just kidding. They're not doing that, but I'm sorry.
Ja Morant might be.
I'm just screwing around, but you know what I mean. To me, I want to see that hatred again. I want to see the Indiana Pacers hate the Knicks, and the Knicks hate the Bulls, and the Bulls hate the Lakers. That's what I want to see. I want to see everybody hate the Celtics. I mean, stop being kissy-kissy. Oh, Jason Tatum's not an MVP candidate. What's going on? You hear Draymond Green crying about it all over social media. I don't want to hear Draymond Green speak on his podcast. As a matter of fact, I want to throw the hell up when he speaks. Okay? It's tiring, and I don't want to see it anymore. The NBA has been it's really become a players' league. In the olden days, when David Stearns was running this, the league, he couldn't tolerate the players doing the stupid things on and off the court. If you do what Ja Morant did, you're out. You're out for the whole season. You're sitting out for 82 games, and you have to seek some help, aka Ron Artest, Metta War Peace. I am tired of watching what Adam Silver has done into league, and the fact that he has spokesmen like Kevin Durant and LeBron James waving the white flag. Let's go play this stupid all-star game and embarrass the NBA the way they have. It's despicable. By the way, when was the last time we saw a good slam dunk contest? And by the way, what was going on with those judges? I mean, seriously, was this hate the Knicks? I mean, Jacob Toppin had the second best dunks. How the hell did he have a 44 and 43? Are you kidding me? The other guy, I'm not McClung. What was it? McClung?
Mac McClung, yeah.
McClung. He was the best dunker. There's no question. But Jaylen Brown was horrible. That was horrible. That was despicable how because it's Jaylen Brown and he's the big name in a slam dunk contest, why they let him go to the finals. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Knicks fan. Anybody that watched that slam dunk contest, anybody watched that, Jacob Toppin had the second best dunks. He had the second best dunks. It was horrible. It was horrible.
But they couldn't put him in because they would have been two G League guys, and it would have been the G League dunk contest, not the NBA dunk contest. You know, like they made this grave themselves by putting McClung in the year before. You know, and he is the best, but they had to put the next best NBA guy in, and even if he's not the next best dunker,
I can't do that. We watch so many great
the best
dunk
player.
competitions. We've seen so many great dunk competitions. We
It's
have in
stupid.
the years. I mean, you want to see the best dunkers go at it one-on-one. That's what you want to see. When Levine and Aaron Gordon did it, that was fantastic.
Probably the last good one, right? Over the car.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
When Vince Carter played his cousin, Tracy McGrady, that was fantastic. That was something to watch. That was must watch. Okay.
That's the greatest one.
I mean, watching Howard versus Nate Robinson. Okay. That was fun. That was fun to watch. The smallest guy, a 5'8", 5'9" guy versus the 7-foot giant. All right. That was David versus Goliath. And then we watched the Dominique Wilkins versus the Michael Jordans and all those great dunk contests. We don't see it anymore. You know why? Because the NBA is all about the players. What star and who's in the 3-point contest, and it's Steph Curry, the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. I don't want to hear it anymore. It is despicable. And the NBA needs to figure this out because after LeBron James is gone, after Kevin Durant is gone, there needs to be another guy that's going to step forward and be the face of the NBA. And honestly, right now, I am worried who that guy is going to be. I am worried because there is nothing that I see right now in the NBA after LeBron James leaves that tells me I want to see that guy. I want to know that this guy is the next big thing. He's the next king of the NBA because LeBron James, it moved from this. And I'll say this again. It was Michael Jordan it was Magic Johnson, Larry Bird in the 80s. It was Michael Jordan in the 90s. In the early 2000s, it was Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan, and then it became LeBron James's game. And it was been LeBron James's game for like the last 16, 17 years. And now they need to find the other guy. And I'm going to tell you this right now. There is nothing that I've seen. So, and there's a lot of great players, Luka Doncic, Joker, but they're not those guys that you're going to like listen to and say, oh, I want to be Luka Doncic. I want to be the Joker. I want to be Nikola Jokic. I don't hear any of that. I want to, who's the next guy? Who's going to take over this league? And that's what I'm scared about with the NBA, because everybody says, oh, the next guy up, the next guy up. Who's the next guy up? Who's the next guy? And everybody keeps talking about, hey, this kid. I mean,
Wemby,
Jeff
Wemby.
Wembanyama is he looks like he's going to be a good player. I don't think he's the face of the NBA. I mean, he looks like a guy on, a body on stilts. Okay. Do I want to look like look at the guy. He looks like a goofy, giant. I mean, seriously, he better put on some weight, because those legs are going to crack pretty quick, man. I mean, seriously, it's not going to work in the NBA. But Wembanyama is not a guy that I'm going to say, hey, I can't wait to see this guy. I want to see that next athletic superstar player. And honestly, there's nobody that I see. The kid Cooper that Duke Blue Devils are going to get.
Okay.
Everybody loves this kid. We've been trying to get him on the show.
Yeah, his Instagram is blocked. So.
This kid he's a fantastic player, fantastic talent, but is he something that I'm going to want to watch when he goes to the NBA? I mean, I don't know. I want to see that next guy, and I haven't heard anything.
Cooper will get all the training from the great John Shire.
Turned out it wasn't Zion, huh?
No.
Everyone was talking that Zion was going to be the next big thing, like the evolutionary kind of Barkley type of guy. Like we're talking, just like a monster out there.
Stop hanging out with porno stars. Actually stay on
the stories around him. The stories around him with that is just out of control, man. He just is not focused on his body. He's like going to be Oliver Miller. He's going to end up like Oliver Miller.
No. He's better than Oliver.
Like out of the league, from eating himself out of the league.
No, I don't think so. I think it's not that I don't think Zion Williamson is not a great player, and he's still a great player. It just, he's a guy that, and me and Jeff argue this all the time. He's still 25 years old and still has a lot of basketball left. He's almost in his prime of his career. The problem with him is once he hits that certain age, is he going to be able to keep those legs going, because he's a jumper. That's what he is. He's an aggressive offensive player by his ability and his athletic ability of going and dunking the ball. He doesn't have that ability like a LeBron James where, I could take over a game in any kind of way. He doesn't have it. He's a decent defender. He's not a great defender.
Right.
So LeBron James, at one point when he was at the top of his game, he could play defense, he could steal, he could pass, he could rebound. Zion Williamson is not that type of player. So, and I never thought he was. So it bothers me. And I thought John Morant was going to be something special. I still think he could be something special, but for everything that is chasing him now, for all the stupid things he's done off the court, I don't know if he'll ever hit his talent that everybody thought he was going to be. He'll never hit that ability that he could have been because of all the stupid things he's done off the court. So, I don't know where the NBA is going. I think Adam Silver, I don't want Adam Silver to be the judge of that either.
No.
I think it's been, I think the NBA is not something to watch during the regular season. I love it in the playoffs. I love the competitiveness. And now that Knicks are actually a good team, it's something to watch somewhat. But I think that Adam Silver wants to see the superstars in the finals. I mean, and everybody expects the Celtics to be there this year. So what is it going to be if the Knicks are playing the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, or Miami is playing the Celtics in the Eastern Conference
Which has been
Finals?
3 out of the last 4 years.
And Miami the series is tied 3-3, and they're going into the 7th game. So are they going to finally give it to the Celtics? Even though I think the Miami Heat are a better playoff team.
Bring them back. Some of the Tim Donaghy, bring the crew back, and get it done the way they used to do back in Stern's time. It's just, it's a shame. You know, we talk about the dunk contest. When I was a kid, man, you used to know all the names of all the winners of the dunk contest: Spud Webb, D. Brown, Harold Miner. Like, I remember growing up and like
David
learning
Jordan?
these guys, watching them. And now I couldn't tell you. I don't think anyone knows
J.R.
after
Ryder,
it happened.
remember him?
J.R. Ryder, yeah. You know, like it used to be like you had to learn who those guys were, just like who won the championships that went before you started watching when you were a kid. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. There's none of that. You know, it's a shame because it used to be a big deal. Kind of like how baseball, like the home run numbers used to be a big deal. Like, it was a thing that as a kid that's followed sports, you just knew that stuff. And that's gone. I don't think that's what kids do anymore. It's a shame.
Jeff has a comment. Is Fish just Josh with glasses?
He does. By the way, I've said this already. Fish does look like Josh. He does. He resembles Josh. I think he has a, you know, Josh has a very loud voice, and Fish, you know, you have an undercarriage, you know, so I'd rather hear the undercarriage voice than the loud and rambunctious voice. So no offense, Josh. He'll probably tell me F you. So, but I listen, we had a great show, by the way. And thank you to Pete Bursick, a friend of the show. And I'm a big fan of what he does for the Vikings, ex-linebacker, Vikings Radio Network broadcaster. He is a great personality. And thank you for joining us as long as he did. He always joins us for a long time.
He was awesome.
And Chris Wormley, he was fantastic too. Great personality. I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes in the offseason. Maybe he stays with Carolina. Maybe he goes to the Lions. Maybe he goes to LA, but he's not going to the Jets. So.
Maybe he goes to the Vikings.
Yeah.
But not the
maybe we created that.
Yep.
Yeah, well, if we created it, why don't you hire us already? God damn it.
Well.
I'm just being nice here. I'm just trying to be nice here. I am totally appalled. I am totally upset. I mean, I have nothing to say. I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah. Thank you to Derek Mountain, Mr. Mountaineer. Thank you, Jeff, for calling the show and pissing me off as you always do.
And pissing Nathan off too.
Oh, come on, man. Nathan calls the show, and I have to say this. I love Nathan, and I love that he gets a lot of great guests. The NR Hour. Fantastic person. He's a really good person. I really, really do love him. But when you're a radio guy, okay, how about this? You're a media guy and you're writing for NFL team Seattle, and you're writing for, you have all these different writers and you have so many guys under you, and you sit here, you call the show, and we put you through. And I love you, Nathan. I'm not taking shots at you, but it doesn't make any sense. And when I ask you who are the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft class, and you only know 2 of them, the 2 main ones, there's a problem there. And by the way, you know your Cowboys. How do you not, I repeat, how do you not know anything about the wide receivers in this class? This is one of the best wide receiving classes we've seen in a very long time. I know Jeff says it's not deep, but these 5 guys or 6 guys could be game-changing wide receivers. How do you not know any of them besides Marvin Harrison Jr., which everybody knows? I mean, come on, man. Come on. And you're promoting your show? Come on, man. Now, let me help you out. You wanna get us credentials? You want me to meet Jose Canseco? I'm not lying to you. I will get his book and I will hand him his book. And I'm serious. This is what I'm going to do. I will go there. I'm going to hand him his book. He's going to look at me. He's like, "You want me to autograph it?" No, I'm giving you your book because nobody else wants to buy it. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you for ruining baseball and hurting baseball for the 90s. So thank you for doing what you did and selling everything. And selling the league, we all knew that everybody was on steroids at that time. We all knew it. Why did you have to sell it? It ruined the game of baseball. He single-handedly ruined the game of baseball in the 90s. Him. And the early 2000s. So to me, it would have all been different if he didn't open his big fat mouth. So why would I want to meet him? Okay? Why would I want to sit there and say, "Hey, look, it's Jose Canseco. That's the big mouth. That's the idiot." So he ruined baseball. He'll sit there and says, "I help baseball. Oh, tell Pudge he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer if it wasn't for me, because I could have threw him under the bus too.
Oh my God. You could just ask him, what it's like to have a baseball hit you in the head, then go over the fence for a home run while you're playing outfield. That's an experience no one else had either.
He
So
hurt.
maybe
He disgraced Mark McGwire. He did. And I don't care if he did steroids. I really don't, because we've had so many baseball players on this show that said it. Every single one of them came on this show and told us that baseball players, if they want to do steroids, they want to hurt their bodies. If it keeps them on the field, so be it. Okay? Every one of them practically said it. Maybe one didn't say it. And we've interviewed at least 50, 60 baseball players. And they all said they should be allowed to do steroids. It's absolutely hilarious. It's hilarious how the MLB and the writers have kept out Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. But hey, you know what? David Ortiz, he did steroids one time. He's in the Hall of Fame. We like him. David, he might have cheated, but he was a nice guy, so he's in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Bagwell, nothing was ever proven. He had pimples on his back, and he looked like he was like King Kong when he was playing for the Astros. Let's hide that. Or maybe, I don't know. Let's look at the other guys. Mike Piazza, who everybody said did steroids in that time. And Pudge Rodriguez, that looked like a Buick on the Rangers when he was playing. That's why they called him Pudge. And every single one of them are all in the Hall of Fame, but nothing was ever proven, so they're Hall of Famers. It's great. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you to the MLB writers for being a bunch of douches, okay? So it's horrible. It really is. And that's the problem with sports. These writers, and this is why people probably don't want to invite me to events, because I have my own opinion towards it. But I am not going to sit there and lie, okay? I am not going to sit there and beat around the bush. Or, James, what do we call him? James Greenbush. I am not going to beat around the green bush, okay? All right? That's all I'm going to say. I'm telling you the truth. If the fans actually voted, I'm going to say this. Fans are fans. They're going to be honest. They're going to go out there. And just like there's electro votes for the presidency, there should be electro votes in every single state in the country. And every fan votes, and whatever hits, and they're in the Hall of Fame, they're in the Hall of Fame. Because I can guarantee you, everybody would have voted Barry Bonds in, Roger Clemens in, Mark McGwire in, Sammy Sosa. They wouldn't have cared.
No Harold Baines either. No one would have voted for Harold Baines.
First of all, that was Tony La Russa. So thank you to Tony. Thank you to Tony.
The legend.
It's a Tony La Russa thing. He coached him and he loved him. So, they were good friends. So that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. So it's a shame. It's a shame. And Kenny Lofton should be in the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah.
So if Tim Raines is in the Hall of Fame, Kenny Lofton should be in the Hall of Fame. All right. And
I'd like to
Rose,
see the two New York 80s first basemen, Mattingly and Keith Hernandez get in as well. If they're going to lower the standards on hits and everything.
I have no idea how Keith Hernandez is not in the Hall of Fame. I have no idea how Don Mattingly, when they compared to Mauer and Mattingly's numbers, Mattingly was a better player. In the top of his career, Mattingly's numbers are almost identical to Mauer's. And Mauer's was he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Mattingly didn't even make the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. He was completely thrown away. And people forget how great Don Mattingly was. It's horrible. The game of baseball, man. What a joke. Baseball and basketball.
Jeff says electro votes, another Earlism.
Hey, why not? I mean, I'm just trying to help out here. I'm trying to give good content, and honestly, that's the way it should be.
And after he takes shots at steroids, they eat HGH and Spider Tack.
Listen, Jeff has something to say about everything. I think Jeff needs to go to the bar, go to the strip bars, go, spend a couple of thousands of dollars because of his winnings over the last couple of weeks, and make sure that, he saves some money for the beef.
Well, it is fake New York fandom. He still hasn't come around yet on the Rangers and the Yankees.
We all know that Jeff has a lot of stiffness. I mean, a lot of stiffies. Speedy, how about you? You have a lot of stiffies?
I have no idea.
No?
I have no idea.
How about
No.
6 stiffies a week?
I have no idea.
I mean, just predict how many stiffies.
I
you
have no idea.
Just give me a number.
2.
All right, 2 stiffies a week. That's interesting. That's good. I mean, Speedy has 2 stiffies a week. How many do you have, Fish?
I plead the fifth.
He pleads the fifth. I'm going to say about 14. 14 stiffies. I mean, he's married, so there's a lot of stiffies in there. I mean,
Sounds healthy.
Yeah, I mean, well, why not? I mean, you know, you got to bleed the old lizard, you know? Yeah. I mean, mine's getting pretty old, you know, 41 years, 40 years of the elders of you guys. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you there. So, you know, you got to squeeze the old melon, right, Speedy?
No.
You don't want to squeeze the old melon?
No.
How
A
about
lot of Led Zeppelin songs about that.
there you go. How about spank the old diamond?
Why would I want to spank a hard rock-like gem object?
Because you know you have gems. You know.
So why would I want to put pain on my hand?
Oh well, you put pain in other areas too, man. I mean,
It's irrelevant.
Yeah,
It's
how
still
is it
pain.
irrelevant?
It's
I mean-
still pain.
hey, listen, man. You got a bob for sausage. How about that? You want a bob for sausage?
Not worth the effort.
I figured it wasn't. It wouldn't be worth the effort. I mean, how about bob for apples? Do you do that?
I haven't done that since I was in probably middle school.
Well, interesting. I mean, obviously,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like
I'm not saying that you do think it's bad. I maybe you half of the guys like the bob for apples. I mean, Speedy likes it, right?
I'm not against bobbing for apples.
Okay, there
I
you
never,
go.
I never was like adamantly against that.
I mean, I'm a little lost with that. I mean, you won't see me bobbing for apples. You know, I'm not an Apple fan.
Okay.
You know, I'm more like a camel toe. Okay. I'm more of a camel toe fan. You know, I like the camel toes. Have you ever seen a camel toe?
No.
Do you want to see a camel toe?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I think you should. I think it'd be
All
very.
right, if I'm
interesting.
ever in Africa
Might
or the
scare the
Arabian
hell out
part
of
of the
you.
world, I'll let you know.
All right, so let's go to Africa.
Not
I'll
you.
I'll
Not
show
you.
all the different
Not
camel toes.
you.
They're all in different, side view, the forward side view. I mean, it would be good for you.
I'll keep that in mind if I'm ever in an African or Arabian country that actually has camels. I know you're not.
Arabian night, it's Arabian day. What movie is that from?
Hopefully, you're better with geography than Josh is trying to take a ferry.
Come on,
trip.
Aladdin.
What was Aladdin, Speedy? I mean, come on.
Aladdin, Street Rat.
Yeah, Speedy. I mean, do you have a genie in a bottle? Do you have a genie in a bottle?
No, if I had a genie in the
you
bottle, I
imagine-
would grant a wish for you to not give any of those scenarios.
How about me? Could you imagine me, a genie, popping out of a bottle?
Unfortunately,
could you imagine me with what do you think I could do? Do you think I
don't want to know.
Do you think I? Do you think I'd be a good genie? Do you think I can?
I don't know. Depends on who the person receiving the wishes is.
Well, I hope you're receiving it. I know. You
I don't
like
want to
receive-
know what's
Are you a
what's-
pitcher or catcher, man? Are you a pitcher or catcher?
Neither.
I mean, which one would you prefer, pitcher or
Probably
catcher?
a pitcher, but
Why would you be a pitcher?
because I wouldn't want to get worn out with all the foul balls and bats can come at you. I wouldn't want to be squatting for 150 plus pitches a game.
Oh, that's Speedy Petey, ladies and gentlemen. He's wonderful. I love you, man.
You're the best, dude.
Oh, he is.
Conventional baseball knowledge.
Oh, man. What a show. What a show, ladies and gentlemen. Almost 4 hours. It's been a great
Wow.
show. Yeah. It goes fast, man. It goes fast. Speedy, does it go fast?
That's your judgment.
But do you
your psychological
do you go
time-
fast? Do you go fast?
I don't know.
Do you go fast? Is it fast or slow?
I don't know. It's everyone else's
What do you feel?
psychological
Do you like
time.
it fast or slow?
I don't know.
Choose one. Fast or slow?
I don't know a context.
Doesn't matter. Pick one. Fast.
I
or
can't
slow.
judge.
I'm going to judge
without a context. No, you're not.
You want it slow. It gives you a little bit more feeling to it, right?
I have no idea.
You know. I love how angry he gets and how stubborn he just gets. Like, I have no idea. You would be a great wrestler.
Oh God,
you would be a great wrestler. We've got to put some muscle on your body. I mean, what's wrong with wrestling?
I would never want to do that.
What would be a good wrestling name for Speedy before we go?
Oh God,
What would we call him?
Oh wow.
No, Greenbush is too easy. I think we need to figure out something else.
The great Speedini.
That's more like a magician. probably.
Magician. I don't know. You would be like a remember 1-2-3 Kid became X-Pac and got that edge. Yeah, I could see you just surprising a great wrestler out of nowhere with a moonsault, winning, taking down the title, running away before they realize they're going to try to kill you, and then all of a sudden you have this edge the next time we see you. And then
We're going to call
come up
you
with your own name.
Your new nickname is the Ball Blaster. What do you think? Oh God, the Ball Blaster.
No, that's Draymond Green.
No, I like that. I think you're the Ball Blaster. I think this is great for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleMania. Entering the ring for the Intercontinental Belt, Mr. Ballbuster. You pop out. Boom, 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 boom. You like that?
Not even the slightest.
Could you do that? Do the little, floss. Bang. You gotta use the hip. Gotta use the hip. There you go. Hip. Use the hip. Use the hip. There you go. There you go. Not that. Not hip. Flip. Poke. There you go. Poke. Oh, there it goes. Like a chicken. Like a chicken. There you go.
Oh God, you're going back to this nonsense now.
Anyways, we got to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm tired. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to our craziness. Thank you to Pete Bursick. Thank you to Chris Wormley. Thank you to Derek Mountaineer Mountain for joining us. Thank you for all the Jet fans to hate me even more after, spreading the word on how bad our team is. Anyways, a good night, and we will see you next week. Do we have any guests next week?
Yes, on Wednesday we got Pat Ragazzo at 8:30. Mets and Yankees writer for Sports Illustrated, Fan Nation. He'll be on at 8:30, and then returning the show at 9:00. Ex-Giants, Ravens, Cowboys, and a couple other teams. I forget offhand. Quarterback Anthony Wright will be joining us.
Oh,
again.
I remember Anthony.
Yep. He had some interesting stories about Eli Manning last time. Very interesting. So they'll be on Wednesday. Thursday we got at 9:00. Ex-Pirates, Twins, Marlins, and Yankees first baseman Garrett Jones will be back on the show at 9:00, and then 9:30. One of our draft guys, he was the one that stayed on for the entire mock draft when we did it. Michael Rockman will be back on at 9:30.
The Rockman will be with us. Listen to 103.9. Thank you for all the Weekend Crunch fans that tune in. Pregame show this week.
Yes, they're playing against the Bruins at 7:30.
The Brew Crew with the New York Losers. I'm just kidding. The New York Islanders, but they seem like they're a losing organization. Another team that I root for. But anyways, so we will be doing the Islander pregame show. Tune in, ladies and gentlemen, as we give you the best in and crunch the best in sports on the Weekend Crunch. So definitely keep listening. 103.9 FM, iHeartRadio, if you don't live here in Long Island. So you can tune in every single 7 o'clock or 10:30.
We're 10:30 tonight.
10:30.
I think it's one of the
Oh,
three.
not tonight. You know what I mean.
It's one of the 3 night games that are left in this season.
Whoopee. I mean, it'll be the last 3 night games because the Islanders aren't making the playoffs. But anyways, thank you and good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're